Sorry, I forgot to tell you guys we're live. We're live.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Kind of Funny's James Bond in Review. That's right, we are ranking and reviewing every movie in the Daniel Craig James Bond cinematic universe. I'm Tim Gettys, joined by Andy Cortez.
Good morning, everybody.
You seem all business today, Andy.
Tim, I'm ready to talk about this goddamn movie, all right?
Yeah?
I have thoughts, I've got opinions.
Oh, man, I can't wait to hear those
Sit the
thoughts and
fuck back.
opinions. We got Kevin Coelho, the big dog himself, making an appearance. A rare appearance nowadays. No construction today?
They had to stop early, so there we go.
No, I killed them all.
And the producer slash seducer, Nick Scarpino.
What's up, everyone? Kevin, I was watching a thing on drug lords the other day, and one of the they were talking about the Cali cartel, and I thought of you because they built every one of their little hideouts. They built a little like fake wall where they could go hide if they got raided. And I was like, I wonder if Kevin's thinking about doing like not necessarily a panic room, but just some sort of like secret room or secret passage in his house.
Yeah, you know I'm thinking about all that stuff. Come on, don't be silly.
Secret bookshelves, Kev?
Secret bookshelves, right?
Oh, man, ladies and gentlemen, this is In Review. Every week we watch a movie, we talk about it, we review it, we rank it against the other movies. You can watch this live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, or you could watch it later on youtube.com/kindoffunny, roosterteeth.com, or you can listen to it as a podcast. Just search for Kind of Funny Reviews on your favorite podcast service. Leave us the 5 stars, leave us the 5 thumbs up, leave us all the things. Yeah, 5 thumbs up, bitches. Deal with it. If you don't want the show with ads, you can get the show ad free by going to patreon.com/kindoffunny, just like our Patreon producers did. Mohammed, Justin Toft, Das Bear Jew, Blackjack, and Jarrett Brown. Thank you all for doing God's work and helping.
Andy, I need you to put 2 thumbs up, and Kevin, you 1 thumbs up. No, Andy, there you go. That's 5 thumbs up right there.
There we go.
Why wouldn't we just do 8 thumbs up?
Because that's too much, man. They don't have that many.
Because he said 5 thumbs up, man. I don't know.
No, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like the standard is like we could all do 2 thumbs up. There's 4
Tim
of us.
is the host,
Kevin's
and if
scale,
Tim
man.
says 5 thumbs up, that's what we have to go with.
Yeah.
Deal with it, Kevin. Jesus.
Is my audio coming in too loud?
No, you sound good to me.
Sound good to me.
Good.
Today we're talking about Spectre. All caps when you write that.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it really?
You know what it stands for, Nick?
Oh, Christ. It's an acronym for like something with terrorism, blackmail. It doesn't stand for that anymore, but back in the day,
Spectre
it used to.
stands for terrorism blackmail.
No, it's like extortion. That's what it was, not blackmail, but it's like this.
It's special executive for counterintelligence, terrorism, revenge, and extortion.
Revenge? I didn't have to add that in there.
Special gives the S and the P? That's not cool.
You know what? Spectre, guys. Spectre, it's all caps.
They didn't make reference to that in this for a good reason, because it's so cheesy that the acronym for this super secret villainous organization is like 8 characters long.
They only reference it twice in this movie.
Spectre?
Yeah. Something before we even get into it all, something that confused me, this is an early science with Kev. What's up with that's
Science,
an octopus.
Science with Kev.
It's the smartest animal.
Okay, but then how come there's only 6 legs?
Oh,
No,
man.
it has 7. It has 7 on the thing.
Okay,
it should have
still,
8.
Well, 2 of them are hiding behind the other one.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I
Hey, look,
thought.
see, you can't see my thumb right now, but if I turn it, there's the thumb.
Whoa. It's crazy.
Okay, perspective,
I just thought
parallax.
that
You know
was-
what I mean, Andy?
It's weird if you're gonna choose an animal like an octopus that's so identifiable by its 8 legs. Like, why have 7 things?
It's
There's
because
a lot
it's all the iconography. You can tell the graphic designer was like, look, I know these things scientifically, right, factually have 8 legs, but wouldn't it be a lot cooler if there was just one singular
One
leg in the
long one in
middle,
the middle,
and
yeah.
then 3 on the sides to kind of it's
Also-
better for imaging. It's a better logo. It looks cool on a hat.
Tim,
Also-
you could also work to give it a backstory. Like, he was going through some shit. One of the legs got cut off, you know?
Got
'Cause
it,
he's like a
got
bad
it.
guy octopus, not one of them good guy
got
octopuses.
into a fight with a shark. Yeah.
It is the 24th Bond film. It is the final Bond film to be co-distributed by Columbia Pictures, as Universal Pictures will become the international distributor of future films. I didn't know that.
Well, it's
Did you
weird
know?
because they still have the MGM on this, that lion.
I
which
think
is
they're
like
just keeping that for Bond.
Yeah, for Bond, but I don't know if that's legitimately something they're throwing in. That must be like a section of Columbia that's still alive, similar to how like every once in a while Spielberg puts out something under Amblin, and you're like, what? Where did that brand come from? But it's cool to see the lion because growing up, I remember the Pierce Brosnans always had the lions.
Yeah.
Like
Wizard
GoldenEye
of
had
Oz
the
had
lion.
it.
And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
But yeah, so this was released on November 6th, 2015. Once again, directed by Sam Mendes, making this his second movie.
You wouldn't know it on this one though. It's almost like if I showed you these two movies and you guys didn't know that the same like you didn't know who made either Skyfall or this one, would you think it was the same team?
No.
Right?
Definitely not.
That's the biggest problem with this movie is I'm like, this doesn't feel like Skyfall. It feels very much different, and I don't know what they were going for.
Yeah, it harkens back to like, it's so tropey. This movie has like every goddamn spy trope thing possible. And
Well, it's also,
But like,
I
not
found
in a
myself,
fun
I found
way.
myself enjoying it, but like,
Oh.
I just want. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Kevin. I don't think it was like super fun or great either, but there was so much potential for this movie. You know
There
what I
was,
mean?
and
This
there was.
movie was almost
Before we
there.
get into this, guys, a budget of this is the crazy thing. All right, nobody knows the exact budget, and this is one of those weird things
Wait,
that's happened a couple times doing in review, where different sources are saying different things about what the budget is. There are people claiming
my grandma. We don't know my grandma's birthday.
yeah, it is exactly like that.
It really is like that.
Are there
Wait,
different
wait, wait.
factions
How
in
do
your
you not
family
know your
fighting
grandma?
about it?
We don't really know my grandma's birthday. It's like this weird thing.
Has
where, like,
anyone talked to her about it?
we kind of like fake celebrated on 2 different days. It's either November 2nd or December 2nd. Nobody really knows.
That's whenever the family's more free.
It's a weird thing, yeah.
My friend's dad lied to his whole family about his birthday, and then one day, like, his mom thought it was like, let's say October 15th, right? And then one day somebody saw his ID and was like, why does it say your birthday's wrong in here? It says October 25th. And he's like, no, that's actually my birthday. I just told your mom the wrong date, and I just kept with that lie.
That is some Kevin ass shit.
That's some
Swear
weird
to
shit.
God. That's like some Paula torture shit. But no, so here's the thing. A lot of people are saying that the budget was 265 million, but then there's another group that's like, no, it wasn't. It was 300 million. Y'all are fucking lying. So there's like a war of the budget, and apparently it caused a big kerfluffle there.
Who won?
So there, no one really. It's kind of
In war, nobody ever wins.
So the budget is upwards of 300 million, making it between the 20th and 5th most expensive movie of all time.
Jesus.
20th.
They did not. I'll be honest with you. They did not need to spend that much money on this movie. I don't. The craft service on this movie must have cost $100 million because it certainly didn't go to the action sequences. Let's put it that way. The action sequences in this movie are so fucking boring, with the exception of the Batista fight. But everything else,
even that, like that, it just wasn't. That was fine.
Oh,
it
you're
was
crazy.
It was fun.
Yeah,
I thought
you
it was
thought
cool.
that
I thought it was
was
brutal.
But compared
But
to like the other movies, it was brutal, and he gets his ass beaten. But I feel like the conclusion is so just like, oh, all right, I guess he's
He
gone
said
now.
the line though.
Yeah.
He said something. That was something that was really fucking weird about this movie. There is multiple extended scenes where no one says anything for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't ever feel good. It feels awkward.
It's just very weird because this movie, in a lot of ways, feels incomplete. It feels like the third act was super rushed. It feels like for whatever reason they needed to give M something to do, which was weird. Like that, you could tell they were trying to maybe give him a team toward the end there with Moneypenny, and you're like, okay, somebody saw a Mission Impossible film but didn't watch the whole thing. I don't know. The guy, and I forget the actor's name, but the guy that plays C, I love him.
He's from.
Yeah, he's good. I like him.
He was in Sherlock. He was in another show, the Phoebe Walter Bridge show. What's it called? Anyway.
The one you
The
like.
one on Amazon where she's crying the whole time because she's kind of a fuck up. Anyway, he's great. They give him nothing to do. And then the third act is very, very rushed. Could have used maybe 2 or 3 script revisions. And then the first act, you're like, this is boring. Like, why? The car during a car chase scene, Bond takes a phone call. He just calls Moneypenny. They have like a 5-minute conversation where she's like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, not much. What are you up to?" "Honestly, I was thinking about getting my hair done tomorrow." "Oh, that's nice. That sounds good." And meanwhile, Batista's like, "Ooh, but I can't catch up to you in my Ferrari that's twice as fast as that Aston Martin."
They were trying to play into that joke, and it just like rarely worked for me. I mean, there's a lot of moments in this, like with that Batista scene. It's like, what? I sort of got 45 minutes into this car chase. I'm thinking like, what? Batista, make a move, bro.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, you pulled up next to him just to look at him, and like that's haha or whatever. But fuck it, let's get this shit going, man.
Contrast that to the beginning of Quantum of Solace, where the car chase scene goes by super fucking fast and it's hyper violent, and then it's done, and you're like, what did I just see? That was cool as shit. They literally just gave you the highlights of everything you needed to know for that car chase, and we're out, and it's all built up to that one moment where he pops the trunk and he's like, time to get out. Bow, 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 bow. You're like, that's fucking hype. There's no hype moments in this movie at all. Zero.
Oh, I totally disagree. I
Zero.
love the first scene was equally good. I think it took longer to get to, but the whole Mexico stuff I thought was like really awesome, and it built tension really well.
Here's the thing, Tim.
Box office of 880.7 million, so less than the 1.1 billion that the last one made, and a runtime of 2 hours and 28 minutes, making this the longest James Bond movie ever made. What's up, Andy?
I love me a good one shot, and Barrett talked about this long one shot in the beginning of the movie. Didn't live up to expectation.
Unnecessary.
Like
Totally unnecessary.
Like when I think of one shots, I'm thinking of True Detective season 1.
Season 1.
And
use of it.
And it is just it's
That
one
director,
of the best uses.
the guy that directed season 1 is directing.
Really?
Yeah, Cary Fukunaga.
Oh, I love that dude.
Yeah, he's
I
a bad
love that
motherfucker.
guy.
I think long shots. I think of that hallway scene in the first season of Daredevil where he just beats the shit out of everyone down a hallway, and I'm like, there's a point to this. It's to see how hard it is to be this guy. It's to see how much effort it takes. It's to watch him sort of like get the shit beat out of him and still get up. That's cool. In this one, you're like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
Why,
This movie, like,
why are we doing this?
I enjoyed a lot of the story elements. I won't say enjoyed. I appreciated what they were going for story-wise, right? Like there's totally like Rogue Nation, Mission Impossible bullshit, you know? Like there's always the higher person up top and he's sort of overlooking everything. But the problem that I ran into is like Christoph Waltz should be a really intriguing villain.
Yeah.
Like how do you make Christoph Waltz not a good villain in this?
Boring. You know why?
Crazy.
Here's why. Because you just had the exact same fucking movie made in Skyfall, and Javier Bardem did it better. The whole point of this movie is that Bond's past is coming back to haunt him. Didn't we just see that in Skyfall? Didn't we literally just go to his childhood home?
Well, that was
Didn't we see someone burn that down?
But that was M's past, and
I mean, it was his past.
He
as well,
goes,
yeah.
but I mean,
they go to his childhood home. Like,
yeah, they go to his childhood home because he was like.
They talk about how they're relics. They talk all the themes of Skyfall come back into this. The relics, MI6.
Well, yeah, but I think that the difference is this is about Bond, and it's like closer to home. Like yeah.
This is how Christoph Waltz is tied directly to everything.
But I thought all those ties were fucking, but just total bullshit. Where it's like,
yeah,
wait,
they're
what?
lame. They're totally
like,
unset
you
up.
can't just out of nowhere be like, oh, and then remember his stepbrother you've never met, or like adoptive brother.
It was a stretch.
What's the fucking point?
It was a stretch when we went to Skyfall. In Skyfall, we were like, wait, we're going to his old house? That's very weird and feels very intimate for a James Bond film. But in this, literally, they just introduce a picture in the first 15 minutes of the movie where it's like a burned, and it's like comical. Like one of the faces is burned off, and you're like,
it doesn't matter. We see the face. We can't tell who it is as an adult.
Yeah, it doesn't. And then like it's like a bad Photoshop
Yeah.
of Liam Neeson as the dad. I don't know who was that guy as the dad.
It doesn't
I was like,
matter.
is that Liam Neeson from that weird trucker movie that he did? Ice Road Truckers. Liam Neeson taken.
I also thought it was funny, or not funny, but like just a bad sign when they like show the Moneypenny's like, why are you doing all this? And he like shows a video, and it's M from the last movie being like, if I die, do this, and it's like, all right, well, you guys can't even commit to the fact that like she's gone. She still left one more message with one more mission, and I just thought like that is also
and I think that goes to back up the larger picture of this, which is that Quantum was supposed to be Spectre. Like Quantum was supposed to be this giant organization, and then they just have a throwaway line where they're like, no, what it really was Spectre. Quantum was just one of the arms of Spectre. And I was like, so Spectre has some subsidiary companies. What is that, for tax purposes? What's the point of having Quantum when you have Spectre? What is the point of having
so they could have that moment where Waltz is like, it was all me. I was Spectre. I was Silver. I was. And
what's so funny about it
that's
though?
totally
Is
fun.
how many
make him the head of Quantum?
How
Why
many
not make him the
references
head of
there
Quantum?
are to M and to like so many things that we've seen in Casino Royale and in Skyfall. They rarely reference Quantum. They say Quantum, but it's like when they're going through like shooting everybody, it's like, where's the Quantum bad guy? You know what I mean?
Well,
it's they have the guy that's also from Casino, but it's like it just shows that they do not respect Quantum at all.
They don't. And you know, going back, if you had a chance to do this again, I think they probably would have smartly just made Quantum Spectre. They would have just made that second movie would have been called Spectre, and it would have been about how this big organization is, you know, behind the scenes. And then in the third movie or fourth movie, we could have finally met Blofeld, who has always been that sort of like the capo de capo, or like the head of the organization with the white cat, and you know, the cheesy villain, which I love that they have the white cat later in this. But it just kind of is just so weird. There's a lot of retconning happening in this.
I'll tell you what,
that's Nick. A retcon, and the retcon with the fucking 1964 Aston Martin at the end. I'm like, did you need that? We didn't need another reference to that fucking car in this.
Didn't they have that moment where in the beginning where Q's like, all I got was a steering wheel. I said bring it back in one piece, not bring back one piece.
And you're like, you didn't say any of that, Q, because that was not set up at all in Skyfall. He got it from a fucking barn.
But that was an answer to your frustration from that movie, where like now they clearly Q's like, oh, I built that.
You know, it's like
that's not a frustration. That's the answer that we were saying last week that no one wanted to accept.
Yeah, but you have to answer
but it wasn't
the fucking movie that you made.
Not when you have a tech guy that makes you tech stuff. Like you can assume he made him tech stuff.
They literally put that in because people had such a big problem with it, and it was fine. They answered it. That's great.
They saw all 40,000 of Nick's emails. Like, let's change it for this guy.
One more major thing where I was like, I hate that they did this is So there's this trend with movies that are getting a remake of stuff that hasn't been, you know, like sequels from super long ago or stuff like that. And one of the things they do is where they like drop a name that nobody like cares, that has no meaning in that world, like Blofeld. Yeah, where it's like,
cool.
Tim, I'm sure you were just like, all right.
That's Dr. Evil.
Yeah.
Great.
Exactly.
I'll tell you what it meant to me. Well, because me and Nick did KFAF bit where we were doing Bond impersonations, and when I heard him say the name Blofeld, I was like, oh, that's the guy. You know, it kind of had that moment, like that moment that pretty much only I had in Star Trek Into Darkness. I was like,
yes, I was just gonna say that.
I was like, whoa.
No, but that's a perfect example, right? Because every single fucking person was like, that's got to be Khan, right? It's got to be Khan. And then for some dumb fucking reason, the filmmakers were like, we're going to call him something else for 45 minutes until he has this reveal where he's like, I am Khan. And I was like,
this doesn't mean shit to anyone in that world.
Yeah, but everyone else was like, who the fuck? Who
Kirk
cares?
is just like, oh, cool. All right, I'm still Kirk.
The only reason why Khan was so impactful in Star Trek Wrath of Khan was because you remember him being a really good foe in the original series. But if you don't remember Wrath of Khan, you have no concept for this. Similar to Blofeld, where he's like, I'm going to go by Ernst Stavro Blofeld. Well, why don't you just go by that right now? Why call him Oberhausen? Why does that matter at all?
Yeah, Oberhausen is his actual name, right? And then that guy faked his death and that had that.
Sure, but why can't it just be Blofeld? You know what I mean? Like, why was there the need for that subterfuge? Or at least that's fine, but he goes by Blofeld now, and you're like, I don't know. It just seemed like a lot of this was, let's shoehorn in some fan service here, and then just almost toward the end of it, it just feels like even the filmmakers were like, I just want to be done with this. Can we just M throws him off a thing? That's fine. M throws him off.
That's like the Marvolo moment in Harry Potter. Like the
moving around the letters
all backwards. Like, oh,
yeah, and every single person watching that movie paused it and was like, is that how that works? And then you start doing that, you take the letters, you're like, no, that's not how that works.
Dude, when the whole like little base blows up, it feels like the end of the movie.
It should be the end of the movie.
It's such a definitive end, and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh no, we have a lot more.
And
but it's like
they go back to the first base, the M's.
That's weird. But my biggest issue with this movie is the same that I've had with the last three that we watched, which is every single one feels like it's trying to be like, but no, now he's really Bond.
Now
and it's just like, how is that continuing again with this? But then I feel like they totally reverse it by giving him a love interest that is the least believable thing of all fucking time, where it's like he's been like, he can convince girls to fall in love with him instantly. Cool. We've seen that over 4 movies. But he loves her too. It's like, you're over the whole Vesper thing. This doesn't fucking make sense. And you're only doing it because you feel the need to now make James more contemporary. And it's like, I just feel like we're in this constant like cat and mouse game with what James Bond should be. And this is the first time it's like, I loved seeing the team together. It never felt quite as good as it should have. But that's because this to me feels like Fast 4, where it's like, we need a reboot point of like, let's bring it all in so that we can start something new. But the last 4 fucking movies have felt that way.
You know what I think it was though, honestly, is I think they weren't sure if Daniel Craig was coming back. I think he definitely didn't want to do this one. Remember, this was the one where he got in trouble for saying he'd rather, like, they were like, would you do another Bond film? And he's like, I'd rather kill myself right now than do one of those. And he was obviously has since apologized for that. But I think that they gave him like a nice send off in this as like a bon voyage to Daniel Craig being
Bon voyage.
And then he came back and everyone's like, God, stop coming back. Just let him say goodbye to you. And you get to live the fantasy, go off with a classic car and a woman that is literally a third your age. Go for it. Just go. How is she a doctor, by the way? She's like 23 years old. She's like this doctor. He's like, you worked for Doctors Without Borders for like 10 years. I'm like, when she was fucking 12? When did she do all this shit? When did
Child
she
prodigy,
any of this stuff? Kevin, how long does it take to get through medical school? Is it 2 years? Is it a 2-year process?
I think it's like 6 to 8 years.
Yeah. Maybe she was a therapist. I don't know. Therapy school sounds like you can get done that in like 6 months. Was it psychiatry? But why did she work for Doctors Without Borders? They put therapists
psychiatrists, yeah.
Do they really?
I think
so. There you go.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie infinitely more than I did the first time I watched it. Doesn't mean I enjoyed it. And that's the thing, is that with this, I liked it watching all the other ones next to it, because I'm like, I remember watching this one in theaters and being like, I don't remember any of these fucking people. Like, you're showing me this girl. I don't remember who you are. Are you the girl from Casino? Like, I didn't remember. But now watching them back to back, it's like, okay, cool. Those pictures are those are those guys. But that doesn't make it better.
No,
yeah,
it just kind of like, it gives it connection. And it's just like, ah, man, like, it's always so close. I feel like this is the one that's least close.
The thing is, like, the storytelling in this is very similar to a storytelling in like a Fast and Furious movie, where they just throw random shit at you and then all of a sudden Han's alive again. No, but the difference is you just like that in Fast and Furious because it's fun and it's cartoony and it's a lighthearted action film where fucking cars fly through this and everyone's talking shit and it's about the people. It's less about what's going on, right? There in those movies, it's believable to just randomly throw those tropes in. In this one, it just feels so cheap and unsupported, especially coming off Skyfall, which was such a great example of what Bond could be.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the plot.
The name's Plot. James Plot.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're starting the plot for Spectre. And it finally, after 4 films, starts off with the iconic gun barrel.
Wait,
where track him, and then
after so many episodes of you doing the show where you always start it with a line for the movie.
Oh no, there's no good lines.
You just go, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting the plot.
I tried. There are no lines worthwhile. I think maybe I highlighted one of them.
What about the kite and the tornado thing?
All right, fine. You're a kite and a hurricane. Thanks, Mr. White. We've seen you 5 fucking times. It was a cool line.
Mr. White's eyes freaked me out.
Either way, I think it's important. I don't know why they decided to finally start it off with the gun barrel thing, but I was like, it feels weird and kind of out of place here. Anyway,
because he's actually James Bond now.
Sure, he's been.
Wait,
yeah,
but
great.
Haven't they done that? Like
they did it at the end of, I think, Skyfall.
But this is the first time we see the circles come in.
At the beginning, usually Bonds, the old Bonds would start with the circle, 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 and it would turn into the gun barrel, and then it would track Bond, and then Bond would shoot, and then the blood would come down, and then it would go into the intro scene, and then it would go into the title scene after that.
At the end of the first intro scene the intro scene in Casino Royale, don't they do it where they follow the dudes?
No, he turns and shoots, but this is like motion graphics. There's black following him.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's like the dead speak pop up on the screen.
The dead are alive. And you're like, are they? Why weren't they alive? And again, isn't that the same thing that couldn't we have started Skyfall with that? Because anyway, it doesn't matter. Like Bond dies in Skyfall. Doesn't matter. We're in Mexico City, and I really want to go there because Day of the Dead, Kev, looks fun as fuck, and everyone's having a rager. We see a dude in all white walk by. He's got like one of those Steven Seagal ponytails that I've always wanted and kind of had in high school, but we don't have any pictures left. Oh well. He walks by a dude.
Pull it up. We have pictures.
No, it's okay. We'll let this one lie. We'll play it where it lies. The dude walks by a guy in all black, and he's got like a souped up version of the skeleton costume that those assholes wore in Karate Kid, and that dude's with a hot girl, and you can tell she's hot. I guess by her arms. I don't know. I'm not quite sure how he picked this girl up because he looks terrifying in this mask, but. We have this one shot like Andy was talking about, and the guy goes up to the girl's room with him, and then we go over to the girl, and the girl's like, I'm ready to fuck. I'm going to get on this bed right now, and where are you going? And it turns over, and I thought this was actually kind of a cute cut where it turns over, and he's taking off one suit. He's got the other suit underneath it, and you're like, dude, were you wearing that suit over the other suit?
Yeah, man.
Suits. Yeah.
Is that where double suit? Like he takes it off and it's not like a cool black outfit. It's legitimately a Tom Ford suit. It's
Nick,
amazing.
they have like city surveillance, and they'd be able to recognize his old suit, like his James Bond suit.
Totally makes sense. I totally get that. It goes over and she's like,
the white suit, you know?
no, he was in the black suit.
Or why didn't he just stick with the black suit? He was like, it's gonna be too noticeable with the skulls.
Because when you're walking on a rooftop and top in like a fucking $2,000 Tom Ford tailored suit, it looks pretty dope.
I guess.
Yeah.
And his guy's cool too. Cool
It
gun.
is cool. It's like a weird kind of
gun.
cool little machine gun. Anyway, he tracks the guy over to the building. She goes, "Where are you going?" He goes, "I won't be long." And it's like, you're never going back to that girl. It's not. You're not going to see her. The guy in the hotel rooms, he sees the dude in the white suit targeting some other guys, and they start talking about blowing up a stadium. And then they have a drink, and then they drink to the Pale King, or something like that. And you're like, "Who's the Pale King?" That's weird.
Don't they say they have to kill the Pale King?
Something like that.
Yeah, I think
They drink to death. They're
they drink to death. Not to the death of their enemies, though.
A la morte is what they say. And they go, and as they say, a la morte, Bond
That's
goes,
what they say, yeah.
bottoms up. And then shoots and accidentally or maybe on purpose shoots the fucking bomb and it blows up the entire building.
No,
Which you have to imagine there was a couple people in that building that are now dead.
Right before he shoots, they see the laser on his gun.
Freaking laser.
And then they freak out, and he doesn't shoot the dude
It's
in
a
the
blue
white
laser,
suit.
though.
Yeah, it was cool.
It's really cool blue lasers. So
like
I had this thought in my mind that like when he first got up there, I was like, they're gonna see the laser. What are you doing, Bond? Like it's not impossible to see a blue laser. But then I thought of this technology, Kevin. Does this exist? I don't know. This probably exists.
Infrared
right?
laser.
You have an
infrared glasses.
infrared laser, and you have infrared glasses, and only you see.
Oh, Andy, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Because right now,
could-
Kevin, infrared glasses. I'm seeing lasers everywhere. You know.
Do you guys remember that scene in Casino Royale where he's like, "Stop touching your ear"?
Yeah.
This was a stop touching your ear moment.
100%.
If there was another agent watching, they'd be like, "Why the fuck are you using a laser pointer?" First off, the guy's 20 feet away, and you've got a machine pistol in your hand. You're gonna hit him. It's gonna be fine. And if you can't, you're not worth your fucking salt.
Or was it going to be fine, Nick? Because apparently the man can survive a building falling down on him and an explosion.
An explosion 5 feet away from him, and the building falling
But here's
down.
the thing: the building didn't fall down. The facade fell off. Right? It was
True,
just
but he was also in an
fair.
explosion.
But yeah, sure, he wasn't in fact in the explosion. You're right about that. But in this movie, people survive explosions no problem. One scar.
Very true. It's very true,
good, man.
As-
Why do the Bond movies insist on constantly having buildings fall and crumble when like that's the thing that they're
In
least
bad
good at making
CGI.
look good? Like,
Yeah.
it's a guys, come on. They're like, maybe we'll get it this fourth time. You didn't.
I think because they finally wanted to write again. This movie is all about retconning wrongs of the past, and this one I think is probably the most egregious. Is that Bond never learned how to parkour until right now, as he parkours down the sides of the building, and then one falls, and he just falls onto his butt onto a couch and goes, "Oh, I'm falling on my butt."
Bond
Fucking-
never
and then he
learned how to parkour.
He knows how to parkour now.
When the
he knows how
first
to parkour.
one, oh, I see, because he was running through buildings.
You
and
never
stuff.
you never knew how to parkour before.
Alright.
You never remember. You'll recall from my earlier analyses of the Bond movies that the Daniel Craig one. He doesn't know how to follow people, and he has no idea how to parkour.
Sure.
So now we've and we have no idea how missiles got into his freaking car. It doesn't matter.
Well,
now
no, we
we
figured
have
that out.
answers
They
for all
they
those.
fixed
We have
that.
answers
They
for all
fixed
these.
It really
He
doesn't
can
matter.
parkour
Nick,
the
right?
entire time.
You are in fact correct.
Anyway, somehow Sciarra made it out alive, as Andy talked about, and he jumps into a helicopter, and Bond follows, and a helicopter fight breaks out. And I actually like this scene, even though
It's
I'm
rad.
like, the entire time I'm like, just land the fucking helicopter.
Yeah.
Why would you go higher with the helicopter? There's two dudes fighting. If I were the pilot, I'd be like, this is unsafe. I'm sorry,
it's a
man.
bad
No, I'm just a
pilot, though.
contractor. I'm not like this is.
Oh,
I'm a
land it.
freelancer, bro. Like, leave
I'm
me
gonna let
alone.
you guys deal with this. I'm gonna
Yeah.
hang out.
But
real
He's a
quick.
bad guy too.
At the same, yeah, he was definitely a bad guy. But like, I can't imagine being James Bond and thinking, oh, you know what I should do? I'm gonna strangle this guy who's flying this fucking plane.
Bad
Like,
idea.
Figure out
Let's
a way to
talk
do
this
it
out.
where it's like less, him moving around.
But this does end with the scene of the gravity kind of playing, and he like falls
Yeah.
up for a bit and then goes down and fucking gets him.
And immediately starts choking him again. Yeah, I thought that was a cool scene. He kicks the guy out, and then of course, the chopper starts to nosedive toward the crowd below, and then Bond pulls it out at the last second as the theme starts playing. Bond looks down at that ring that he stole from Sciarra, and he sees the squid symbol, which turns into Daniel Craig shirtless and everything on fire. And I know what you're thinking. That's kind of cool. Until you forgot that Sam fucking Smith did the theme song for this. And if you guys need to, take a nap right now, because you got about 5 minutes of just boring, drooling, whining.
I don't know how this
Those
decision got
falsettos,
made.
though, man. Those falsettos are pretty up there.
No.
Song's
And I'm
fine. As a Bond song, it's not. It's just
terrible.
fucking lame. Now here's some shit for you guys. All right, here's some fucking shit.
Some shit, bro.
Despite the mixed reception, it became the first Bond theme to reach #1 in the UK singles chart, the second to win the Academy Award for Best Original Song, and the 5th to be nominated. It also won Golden Globes and a bunch of other shit. But what the fuck? I did not realize it also won.
Fucking Adele's rolling over in her grave right now. She was like, I put my heart and soul into Skyfall.
Still alive.
Sam Smith read a fucking poem for 5 seconds in his highest falsetto, and it's terrible.
Did anyone enjoy the actual video part component to this intro? Because I thought it looked fucking weird.
It's boring. And
I liked
slow.
it.
I thought it was cool. I thought that it wasn't nearly as cool as any of the other ones, but I still thought.
Are we gonna rank it?
I thought the visuals were cooler than Casino Royale's visuals. I just enjoyed the aesthetic of what they were trying to do. The music, though, did kind of turn me off.
It reminds me a lot of like an older, like an early Pierce Brosnan movie where you've got like fans waving women's hair and it's slow and it's supposed to be sexy, but it's like it just feels old. It just didn't feel like it was a contemporary intro to me.
You know, they're showing all the old characters in the movies, right? They show you see a shot of Vesper, you see a shot of M, and M's shot. It kind of looks weird because of the CG that they use. It looked like her character in Cats.
That's amazing.
It does this weird
universe.
sort of CG stuff, and like, you know, the face is kind of weird, so her face looked kind of furry, and it was
took her butthole out.
I was like, I've seen this image on Twitter a million times. It looks like the Cats image.
The English band.
I did not like the use of the flashback footage. I was like, that looks terrible.
Yeah.
The English band Radiohead were commissioned to write the title song and submitted Man of War, an unreleased song written in the 1990s. The song was rejected as it had not been written for the film and therefore was ineligible for the Academy Award. But then Radiohead's like, fuck it, we'll put something together. So they made a song called Spectre, but it was rejected as it was too melancholy. But you out there can listen to the song now. It is available. They put it out and they're like, fuck it, we want the world to hear this. Spectre.
I've never heard that. I'm gonna go back and listen to it.
It's cool. It is
It's
a little
Radiohead.
too melancholy. It's Radiohead, but like not the. It reminds me a lot of the Billie Eilish one. Where I'm
Has
like,
somebody like mixed up or chopped up the Radiohead song with these visuals somehow? I think
That'd be cool.
I'm
Hey,
sure
you should
someone
do that
has.
for KFAF, you know?
I will say this: if
Spent
like
up all
Sam
night.
Smith is definitely the more commercial like Radiohead. He's like the Radiohead that you can bring home to mom. You know what I mean?
Is
Not
it?
at all.
Definitely. Like if you listen to Radiohead's super melancholy. They sound very similar. Where he's always singing and the lead singer's always singing like falsetto, except it's so much more depressing to listen to Radiohead than it is Sam Smith.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
Let's rank the intros here. Where does this go?
I think this. So we have, what do we have so far? We have Skyfall, we have
Another Way to
Quantum,
Die.
and then we have Casino Royale.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this below Casino Royale. I would say this is
too.
last on the list for me.
Yeah.
And again, I think the visuals are okay, but the song with the visuals, I was like, if I were watching this for a third time, this would be where I take the nap.
I
I
agree.
think the visuals are interesting, but just compared to the other ones, they're not. I disagree with you, Andy, with the thinking it's better than Casino, because at least Casino had like something unique about it, right?
Now,
This
here's
one
the
does
thing.
just kind of feel a bit more cool Bond imagery of like what Nick's talking about old school stuff about like naked women and shit, but it still looks really cool. But yeah, the song's just so whatever.
So melancholy.
Because even Casino Royale, I didn't remember loving the song, and watching it this time, I'm like, I kind of fuck with this. So it's fourth for me.
I'm
Yeah.
rewatching it right now, and there's a lot more tentacles and like nude women than I remember
That's why it's great.
from watching it
That's why I like the
yesterday. So
visuals.
is it winning some points? Yeah, but I'm still gonna put it at the last.
It's getting visual points for me.
Yeah.
The song though just brings it all the way down to fourth.
yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You have your official ranking of all the Bond intros and music, with Skyfall at number 1, Quantum of Solace number 2, Casino Royale at number 3, and then of course, just way down there at number 4, Spectre. We'll just put that bad boy down at number 4. All right, back into the plot. let's see. Bond gets chewed out by M. They're in a tenuous situation here, Tim. They're merging with MI5, and it's been tough. It hasn't been easy. Bond asks Bond officially what he was doing in Mexico, and Bond gives him the old just using some vacation time, and it's like, no, you don't let him out of the office. You don't let him out of the office. But M's like, maybe the old boy's onto something. Maybe he hasn't lost a step. Then in walks Max, and I don't know how to say his last name, so we'll just call him C. He is the new head of joint security, and Bond calls him a big old fat C. And C calls him his employee, and he wants to bring intelligence out of the Dark Ages. And Moneypenny catches up with Bond, and she gives him some personal effects they recovered from Skyfall. And it's like, what? Okay, cool. And then Bond makes sure, he's like, I want you to come by my place, 9 o'clock. And it looks like he's just moved in, but he hasn't. He's been there for ages, and he's a bachelor.
I'll tell you what, real quick. Just right off the bat, I already missed Judi Dench.
Yeah.
Immediately. And when I got to the end of the movie, it further cemented that thought in my head of like, I really missed her being in this movie. I missed her being opposite of Daniel Craig. I missed her. I missed their bullshit back and forth. I never ever really felt that with current time. I forget.
With Ralph Fiennes. I don't dislike Ralph Fiennes. I think he's actually good in the role, but I do agree that the dynamic was just always more fun between Judi Dench and Bond, because it was sort of motherly, and it was sort of that antagonistic relationship you have with your mom, where you're like, I'm not going to clean my room. I don't want to. And then you clean your room. And you're like,
we just don't need more British dudes. Like, that's the thing is, I feel like this movie has like too many, like on this team already. It's like we have the right-hand dude that's under Tanner. Yeah. It's like, we got you. We don't need, like, we needed that, like, the female energy or just something different than just what seems like another one of him. You know?
Or if you're going to do it, get someone that has good hair, because Bond's thinning, Ralph Fiennes is pretty much bald, and Tanner is a fucking cue ball. Like, just, you know what I mean, Andy? Like, put someone there that can stare at some eye candy. Give me a little fucking.
Well, they made up with it with Q. Q has all the hair for all of them.
That is true. Q has a lot of hair.
That guy has the most hair I've ever seen on anything, dude. Like, just in terms of like sheer density, you know what I mean? Like,
it's like shit. You know what it is? It's one of those things, Andy, and you'll appreciate this. You know how some guys like go to barbers and the barber like thins their hair out because it's just too thick.
It's bullshit. Yeah.
Can you do that?
Yeah, Tim, you have to have that done.
They do it to me every time. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I told this story where I thinned out my
the weird scissors
thinning
with
shears. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, they do it.
I told that story where I cut my friend's hair, where he had hair down to his shoulder, and he was touring with his band. He's like, yeah, and I was like, I can give you a trim if you need. And I just like thinned it way too much, and he looked like Spiegel, where he just had
God, that's horrible. So Nick, this scene here where Moneypenny visits Bond's little apartment situation, this was refilmed. Like, it was one of the first things they filmed, and they went back and refilmed it after everything because it originally had another woman in the bed. And then they were just like, oh, we want to like not have Bond be like that. We're trying to change all this. And it's like, you guys need to fucking pick a vision and just stick with it, because it's like, what the fuck is James Bond supposed to be at this point?
I would have been okay with that. What I'm not okay with is the creepy ass shit he does to Monica Bellucci later. And then the weird kind of skeezy old man kind of uncle where it's like, well, your dad's dead, so I'll be your dad now, but not really. I'm going to be your fucking daddy. And it's like, what is happening with you in this? Why don't you just give him a fucking relationship at some point? Like, I miss Ava Green. I miss that, like, someone actually has an equal to him that he can go off of. Because man, it gets creepy in that Italian house.
It really does. Monica Bellucci, the oldest woman ever cast as Bond girl at 51.
First off, Monica Bellucci is fucking timeless.
She was 51 in this movie.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Monica Bellucci was in The Matrix like 3 or something like that, and she has not aged a fucking day. She was that French guy's wife.
Yeah, at the like dinner party.
Yeah.
God.
I love Monica Bellucci. God bless her. She is a shining example of an Italian. Anyway, Monica
represents the country well.
I mean, honestly, if I were to redo the Italian flag, it would just be a picture of her, and I'd be like, "What do you got? Fuck you." You know what I mean? Fuck you.
What do you got?
What do you got? What are you gonna put up against that? Taylor Swift? Suck it. Anyway. At that night, Moneypenny's like, dude, everyone thinks you've gone nuts, and he's like, well, I haven't gone nuts. You know better, Moneypenny. She's like, everyone thinks you finished, but Moneypenny knows he's just getting started. I'm like, cool. And then he plays the message from M from beyond the grave, and she wants him to find a man called Marco Sciarra, kill him, and don't miss the funeral, which is a fucking dope ass thing to say. But I would also be like this: why? Why don't you just tell me what's going on? What do you think? This is a message from, I'm the only one going to see this. So you've already given me enough information that if anyone sees this message, they're going to know what's up.
Right.
Like if bad guys get this, they're going to know I'm after them. And if the good guys get it, I'm the only good guy. Why don't you just tell me what's going on? Why are you being so cryptic, Em? What's wrong with you? Anyway, doesn't matter. And then he has a great line where he says she wasn't going to let death stand in the way of doing her job. I thought that was dope. Bond asks Moneypenny to do some digging on the Pale King for him, and then gets in a cozy robe and opens up the box she gave him, which has a badly photoshopped picture of him, Liam Neeson, and someone else, some other kid that has a burned face. And you're like, this is just, they couldn't have actually done a photo. Okay. Tanner and Bond ride on a boat where they talk shit about C and look at the new Center for National Intelligence. And C wants to create a new world order at the new Security Council conference in Tokyo, where he, if he gets his way, he'll have access to the combined intelligence powers of 9 countries. And he's named that system Nine Eyes. And it's amazing. And are we aware? Is no one going to call attention to the fact that he has a cat on his back?
And I can't control him. He does this when I'm.
You got to let him do it. It's unbelievably appropriate for you to have an all-white cat right now.
I know.
You couldn't have planned that better if you tried. Bond meets up with Q, and Q shoots him up with some smart blood.
But real quick, Nick.
Smart blood.
For real though.
Yeah, you're right. That's what they call
Nine
it.
Eyes. Nine Eyes is a badass name.
It is.
Nine Eyes is such a cool Metal Gear Solid thing. Yeah,
yes, 100%. And it's a cool concept. Huh? It's a cool concept, but it's also
it is a cool concept. I feel like C's whole thing with the information and he has cameras everywhere and stuff. It's just it feels super quick. I feel like that's something that we needed to build up to a little bit, because it's kind of just well, here's a guy that literally can see fucking everything. And you're you're a bad guy. We know you're a bad guy. This isn't even an interesting, fun twist when it's revealed you're working with the bad guy. No fucking shit.
But again, and I hate to keep harping on this, but it was so much cooler when fucking Javier Bardem hacked into everyone's stuff. Mm-hmm. Remember when he was just I have this advanced knowledge of computers, and with this knowledge, I can just do whatever the fuck I want. I literally took over a whole town because I know how fucking MS-DOS works, and I know how the prompts work, and I can type C++ and make everyone think there's a chemical leak.
MS-DOS, huh?
Exactly.
Do you understand?
That's exactly.
But
I thought
it was so much more foreboding in Skyfall, because you're dude, this dude's fucking everywhere.
I thought the smart blood was going to be used to poison him, and be used in a more exciting way against him than just tracking him a few times.
Or you know what I mean? In the scene where he's getting tortured and you're oh, he's gonna die, and they use the smart blood to bring him back. That would have been cool.
That would have been cool.
If his team's oh shit, he's dying. How can we use this awesome nanotechnology
Instead, it was just
would
to
be
use
unbelievably profitable for Britain if they had this technology. You know what I mean? They could do it. It would be unbelievable. I'd be let's focus on this. Fuck the all that other shit with looking through cameras and watching people pee or whatever the fuck C's doing in his office. Let's focus on the smart blood and how that could just be this cool new pathogen we put out.
It's funny that they don't even use it for the one thing that it does, which is GPS tracking. Instead, he just lies about the GPS tracking, where he's he might as well just not have put it in him, you know?
Well, they use it. They do use it at one point.
Do they?
They use it to for misdirection, right? But
no, but don't they use it in he can see that he's in Austria or something, and then Q lies about it, and then later he's he
meets up with
hey, we have to make sure to turn them off, because if we can find him, anyone else can find it.
Right. Well, yeah, that's I mean, towards the end when C is eventually onto them, he's they're hey, Bond is over here. We have to go save him. That's when they eventually use it. They're he's in what's that final destination that he's in, the final location that he's in. They're Bond's here, and they're we got to go save him. And M's sorry, we can't fucking do anything because we can see where he is, and if we go, M will or C will know. Somebody let her.
Maybe they could all just drive a fleet of 1964 Aston Martins out there, because you can't track those. We've learned that from Skyfall. Anyway,
wait, real quick, Nick, you keep mentioning that the Photoshop job on his stepdad's face, and I looked it up. Holy shit, you are so right.
Bad,
the
right?
Photoshop on his hair.
Why didn't they just get an actor to stand in?
I don't
the kids
know.
would have been fine.
I can show it here. Hold on. There.
It's very weird. It's very weird. It's off-putting. I hate that. That's my biggest pet peeve in movies.
You see how weird? Why is it? Why not just put an actor?
We can't see it.
Oh, you're right. I can't show
Don't
you.
worry, Kev. It's indelibly burned into my fucking brain. Because that's my biggest. Andy, I don't know if that pisses you off or not, but bad Photoshop job in pictures. Like whenever they pick up the picture and it's supposed to be them when they're young, and it's just a poorly comped face on with some like masks that are like feathered at 3. You're like, why didn't you feather it at 10?
Yeah.
Why did you feather it at 3?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. If you laughed at that joke, ladies and gentlemen, you're a fucking Photoshop nerd. Let's see. Q shoots him up with the smart blood, cutting it, and then Q's like, I want to show you one last thing. He gives him an Omega watch as well, which I always thought was cool because Omega always gets the watches in there. And this one was, I believe, a Seamaster 300. And he goes, I want to show you one more thing. We get the Aston Martin nod where he's like, I told you to bring it back in one piece. And you're like, okay, you put the tech in there. Fine. I'll stop bitching about it. Everyone don't fucking say anything in the comments. Nick has made his peace with this. It's totally fun. And then
I don't believe that for a second. I guarantee you, before this show ends, he's gonna talk shit about that again.
Well, because the car fucking comes back, and you're like, "Hey, Q,
there we go. It's been 10 seconds. It's been 10 seconds.
It's been a week. It's been a week, and the car's ready.
Here we go.
You know how long it takes to restore a
Here we go.
Martin? It's like 2 years it takes to get parts for that car.
This is Q. This is Q.
He doesn't have a bodywork guy down there. That's
He
all
has
smart.
He is the bodywork guy.
I don't have it. I watch a lot of car restoration shows. This shit can take years, man. You try to get a fucking part for an old engine like that.
I watched Top Gear and they're like, man, we don't have the parts of this car, but we got fucking nano machines we can put in this guy's blood.
It's true. It's true. You're missing the point, Andy. If you put nano machines in an Aston Martin, it defaces the value. It brings the value down to the car.
Right.
Anyway, instead of that though, we see a fucking dope ass Aston Martin DB10 with all the trimmings. And he's like, we upgraded this shit and it was meant for you, but sorry, dude, we got to give it to 009. Now, Tim, if you're asking yourself, Nick, do you fucking love it when they talk about the other 00s? I really do.
It's
I really do.
cool, man.
It's awesome. It's awesome that there's other 00s out there. And if you remember GoldenEye, of course, 006 was played by Sean Bean. Sean Bean.
Yeah.
Who was, and he had a big, there's a whole Kerfuffle. Yeah, that guy. And that was always cool. I was like, oh. And then I think in Living Daylights, there were other 00s too in the beginning of that.
009, I read some trivia, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nick, on this one, but like he was an Octopussy.
009. Oh, I don't know. I can't remember. That sounds about right.
Tim, will you be surprised if I thought it was called Dr. Octopussy?
Oh, no, I wouldn't. There's Dr. No.
Yeah, I was like Doc Ock. I just mix it all up. Like,
Watch KFA from last week. You can see Andy fuck that up and give me a hard on. All right,
Tim, I just looked into it really quick. Andy Bradford played 009 in Octopussy.
There we go.
So there you go.
Well, there it is. I mean, again, we want to put a team together. Put him together with another 00 for the next movie. You know what I'm saying? Like Ethan Hunt gets to hang out with Jeremy Renner. Hello.
Yeah. Next movie.
Smart. Actually, that's a good point, right? Because she's 007. And he has to come back.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be dope. It's gonna be good.
Ethan Hunt. I can't wait.
All right, they give him the Omega 300 watch. And he alarms. I didn't catch this the first time, but he talks about. He's like, "Hey, just a quick note on the watch. The alarm is quite loud." And I was like, "I thought he meant the alarm to the building because he knew he was going to steal the car." And I was like,
"Yeah, me too."
Really good. But he didn't. He meant the alarm.
Until you just said this right now, I didn't get that it was the alarm was loud on the watch.
Oh no, I totally got that, but I thought it was going to be like a piercing siren that like
not in a fucking explosion.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, oh, it's to break glass. I'm sure we'll see him later put it down, cover his ears, and be like, all right.
Yeah. Would have been cool.
Man, it's what a disappointment he doesn't get any more gadgets. It's always like, here's one thing, and all right, he gave him 3 gadgets. Blood.
I can't wait till Nick talks about him using the ejector seat.
That made sense though, because he put those in the car specifically and I like how they were sort of like thrown in there ugly, where the switches were like.
Why would it be ugly though? When we've seen the ejector seat button before, was that cool fancy one that's the red one, on the thing.
Up and you hit the thing.
And now suddenly he's just like, you know what? We don't have time to integrate this shit right, so we're just gonna put a fucking PCB panel just on the side here with a couple flip switches, and it's like what? And one of them just does fucking music. One of them just turns the radio on.
It plays Frank Sinatra, which is hilarious. I laughed at that. Here's what I'll say is the reason why they didn't have time to properly integrate it in. Probably if I was his boss and I had to go through the books and look through what everyone was spending their time on, I'd be like, why do you have 5 guys working on the fucking restoration of a 1964 Aston Martin?
God damn.
What do you do down there? What do you do down there all day? You guys sit in your underwear, you drink fucking tea, and you just restore Aston Martins? Can I get that job? That sounds awesome.
Did he stay in the same base from the last movie?
No, it looked similar. I thought it was too, but maybe. But I think it was It was supposed to be a different location. But anyway, we'll move on. I've lamented about this enough. I think everyone gets it now, Tim.
Not a chance. Yeah.
I think everyone understands my perspective. Let's see. Q tells him the smart blood is still, and he was like, "You got to do me more favor. You got to make me disappear." And then Q's like, "Fuck, dude. Fine. The smart blood is still in its developmental stage, so there might be some dropouts in the first 24 hours." And Bond looks at him and he goes, 48 hours? And he's like, yeah, that makes sense.
I like that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. The next day, Moneypenny comes to work and finds a gift from Bond, some flowers, and a cell phone. Q comes to work and finds a surprise of his own. That Aston Martin DB10 is fucking gone, but luckily Bond left him what I can only imagine was a bottle of chilled Bollinger. They don't show the logo, but he made reference to that in the last couple of
Ooh.
Andy from Kind of Funny.
It's at this moment that I realized I watched a TV edit.
Wait, you've just done that before, or this time?
No, just this time. It's my only time I've ever watched a movie. I watched a TV edit.
What? On TV? So you watched it on TV?
How?
I watched it on Hulu. And Hulu has like Hulu through FX.
Uh-huh.
And on the bottom right was an FX watermark the whole time, like FXM or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember I was leaving the apartment yesterday, and Barrett mentioned that, the movie's like 2.5 hours long. And I turned it on, and it was like, it's 2 minutes, 17 minutes. That's not bad.
2 hours, 17 minutes.
So
they shaved off 10 minutes?
Yeah, so they shaved off. I don't know what they shaved off, guys. But there were several moments when, like, Batista dies, and he goes, shit. He goes, oh, shoot.
It might have sounded better, actually.
Yeah.
It might have.
The worst line read I've ever fucking heard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
Gotcha.
Oh my god. Let's see. Where are we here? Anyway, Q comes to work, finds surprise money over at Sciarra's funeral. Bond spots Lucia, Sciarra, Monica Bellucci's character, of course. And when he gets closer, he sees the back of a man's head, and he's like, "I know that the back of that head. I recognize this guy." But instead of just running up to him, like, "I fucking know you, motherfucker," he just lets the guy kind of walk out. And he's like, all right, I guess maybe I wasn't 100% sure on that one. I do love that everyone's wearing Tom Ford sunglasses in this. They're fucking dope. Bond approaches Lucia and tells her that he's there to help her stay alive. He goes, I hear the life expectancy for some widows can be very short, which I was like, was that a line from like an homage to Casino Royale's line where he's like, the life expectancy for 007s is short? And then I was like, nah, they're not that smart.
No.
Her bodyguards flank her and she takes off. And then she's like, look, man, we're all gonna fucking die one day. We're gonna go one day. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. It doesn't matter. And Bond's like, what? And then
worst ways to die or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Like,
that's where they're about to fuck.
Yeah. That night, Lucia goes home, pours herself a drink, and heads out of the pool. And I like the way this is shot, where she walks out and you see the two guys, the bodyguards basically waited to kill her out in the back, blurred out. They flank her, and then you hear 2 shots. And she turns around, and Bond's been standing behind her the whole time. He just capped those guys.
I like that she flinches. Cool. There's that moment of her like thinking, like, "Oh fuck, I got shot."
Yeah,
I think this movie is shot really well and edited well. That's one thing I enjoyed about the movie.
I think the quieter scenes are decently edited. I think the action sequences just needed way more spunk in the funk.
Except the Batista fight scene, that was the best.
That I actually did like because I thought it was brutal. Anyway,
Batista character is really dumb, and I'm excited to talk about it.
We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there in about 15 seconds. She talks about, hey, this is a waste of your time. There are 100 more who will come to kill her. All you've bought me is 5 minutes. And Bond goes, excellent. Time for a drink. And you're like, oh, that's pretty cool, man. Why don't you go in and like get to know this girl? Maybe take her on a date, and maybe, oh no, just pin her up against the wall and start trying to be. It's just, I think they meant for this to be sexy, but I'm like, she just lost her husband. She's terrified that some guys just tried to kill her, and now there's a random guy that she met 15 fucking minutes ago who's trying to bang her.
Who admitted to killing her husband.
How's he doing it? Because the answer is he's walking up to her like this.
Yeah, it's really creepy. It's just not sexy at all. That's good.
And it's like, what are you
starting to work for me?
Stop. Like either kiss or don't kiss. Don't like, kind of. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Anyway, she tells him that they're meeting tonight to discuss the replacement for her husband at the Palazzo Cardenza. And Bond's like, cool. And then they bang. And then after they bang, she's sitting there in like a garter belt and like a what do they call bustier? And I'm like, Madonna. And he's like, listen, I call my buddy Felix Leiter, and he's gonna come pick you up. He's from the CIA, and you're gonna be okay. And
I was so sad I didn't see him.
Yeah, like let's put him back in the movies, man. Come on, guys.
I know.
Or okay, I'll say this.
I think he's coming back for No Time to Die.
When I was just saying that sentence, I was like, maybe he did pop up, but I watched the TV. Maybe they cut it out.
He did not. I like that they mentioned him though. Through lines are good, man.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. And then they have a nice, he says, buona fortuna, donna Lucia, which is good luck. Good luck.
Is that from a song?
It's way too long. Let's say buona forte.
Donna Lucia, that's not her last name, right?
No, donna means lady.
No, I know. Yeah, it means like ma'am.
Ma'am,
but the Lucia, it doesn't matter.
Lucia is her first name.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it was Lucia Scara. Lucia, I don't know how you say that, but I think it's Lucia. When we get there, he uses Sciara's ring to get past the security, but they're like, we're not fucking buying this. He's like, what's your name? He's like, Mickey Mouse. He's like, okay, fucker. I know that you're not one of the guys that are supposed to be in here, but go ahead, go on in. And then they go, and then they have that.
I didn't really.
They knew he was coming. They knew. That's the only thing I can explain was that they were warned ahead of time that this Bond guy's coming in there.
I thought it was like a password.
Me too.
No,
Me too.
I also got the vibe that like they knew he was coming and they were just like, we were told to let him through.
Yeah, he says, "What's your name?" He goes, "Mickey Mouse," and then later he goes, "What's up, Mickey Mouse?" Like, giving him like, "Fuck you."
And then Bond kills him.
And then Bond fucks him up
fast. That guy thought he had the upper hand, and he lost it really fast.
No, yeah.
But I will say that when the whole twist occurs with Oberhauser or whatever, and he looks up and he's like, "James, you're here."
Was
or whatever.
that a twist?
No, I mean, okay. Here's the thing.
I'm just saying, like,
so that moment,
reveal.
Yeah.
So that reveal happened, and I kind of had to go back and be like, "Did I miss something?"
Nope,
Like,
you didn't miss anything.
No. Okay. Yeah.
Nope. Just he comes out in shadows, and you're like, okay, is that going to be Mr. White? Is it going to be someone we've seen before? Is there a reason to have some level of everyone else in this fucking room is well lit, and this guy's just in shadows? No, it's just Christoph Waltz, which again is another one of those moments where like with Into Darkness, I forget who mentioned that, but it was like there's supposed to be a big reveal, and everyone's like, okay. This is cool. I guess it's Blofeld. Great. Who knows? But no, they call him Oberhauser. You're like, yeah, okay, I'm really confused now. It doesn't matter. They find this meeting in progress. They're talking about how much they're owning shit. We got all the drugs and all the cool stuff. Look at all my shit. And then Oberhauser comes in and everyone's like, oh, my butthole just tightened up because the boss is here. And he goes, listen, Sciara's dead. Someone else has to take a seat and go travel to Alta Sea. I don't know how to say that word. And kill the Pale King. And then Senor Guerrera is like, I'll do it. And then Batista's like, and he's like, does anyone have a problem with that? And Batista comes in and goes, I have a problem with that. And in order to show you my problem, I'm gonna fucking pluck this guy's eyes out, slam his head onto the desk, and then snap his neck, and then sit in his desk. And I'd be like, if I saw that, I'd be like, you got the job. I'm not gonna contest this because you're a fucking big dude.
I feel like I would have been like, whoa. This guy probably has jobs that he does. Like,
yeah,
maybe sit down, talk it out. Let me find out.
Who's going to finish all his paperwork?
Right?
Yeah.
Come on.
The guy files taxes, for Christ's sake. Let's see. Oberhauser and then Oberhauser welcomes James Bond to the meeting. And he's like, it's been a long time. And Bond's like, oh.
Wait.
He knows I'm here.
One more thing.
Yeah.
This guy, Batista's character, what is his name? Like Hanks or something?
I don't know.
Hanks.
Yeah.
Sure.
What the fuck's going on with the metal the metal nails on his thumbs?
What's the same reason why he has a...
like specifically.
Yeah. Like is that his
move?
Power?
You think that's his move?
Yeah, he tried using it on James later, and James was like, "No."
I think this one gouges the eyes. This one does the bump of coke. Just a little bit of that.
Yep.
Good douche.
Yep.
Andy, no. All right, it's weird. It's a weird. Again, it's one of those things where I'm like, do we need in the Bond franchise? Do we really need these villains to have like that like iconic villain trait?
Yes, we do.
All right, well,
I just feel like they should be cool. Like Jaws, had metal teeth.
Had the metal teeth.
And then he could bite through things.
Yeah.
Like, that was cool. Odd Job had the hat.
Hat.
He threw it and it would just break things.
Yep.
Why didn't they just make him Odd Job? Wasn't
he looked like Odd Job. He looked like a big Odd Job.
Did you guys know that the guy that was in that played the Odd Job parody in the Austin Powers movies went to jail for murder?
Wait, I thought that was actual Odd Job.
No, they got a different guy. It was an MMA fighter. It was like a UFC fighter.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I knew one of those guys. I thought I had it flipped, but that's it's sad.
No, I don't know if the odd job was. Anyway, let's move on.
Random
Bond
task.
let's see. Okay, so all hell breaks loose, and a car chase ensues, and it's the most boring car chase ever fucking created. Bond tries to use all the
so
buttons.
long.
Here's the thing. I don't think it was the most
ammo.
boring thing ever created. I don't think that it was standout or anything. I thought the score was awesome here. I love this movie's commitment to like, fuck it, we're gonna play the James Bond theme in every style imaginable, and like it does elevate the stuff to me. But I thought that the way that the chase was shot was interesting, but it's just they weren't doing anything interesting.
I thought there were several moments where like they get stopped by like just normal traffic. Like some dude pulls out and it's like, oh, Batista's car got stuck behind that, and then another car takes the corner and it's like, oh, now he's stuck behind a Fiat. Oh, he's pushing the Fiat away.
I think the most interesting it looked was like going down the staircases.
Yeah,
but even then,
the music did elevate it a bit, but it still didn't. It didn't have that oomph to it. I don't know.
It didn't have any suspense or tension built in it. It had all the tension and suspense that you would expect trying to find parking in San Francisco. That's how at one point literally he's like, oh, there's an old guy in front of me. I just push him. I'll push him into a parking spot. There we go. Anyway, Bond's like, this is on his radar, is hitting on such a low level that he's like, I gotta have something else to do right now. I'll call Moneypenny and see where she's netted out with this whole Pale King thing. And he calls Moneypenny and tells him that Tunisia and Hamburg and Mexico City, they're all linked to one organization. And Moneypenny has figured out the Pale King is, that's right, Mr. White from Quantum. And the reason they said this, instead of just letting Bond discover this, because that would have been a really fucking cool reveal, where he's like, who's the Pale King? And he goes there and he finds Mr. White. And you're like, oh my God, it's Mr. White from Quantum and from Casino and from like, I think he was maybe in Skyfall in a second. I can't remember.
I don't think so.
The reason they said that was because I'm pretty sure nobody saw Quantum, and we're like, they're probably like, we're worried that nobody remembers who Mr. White is.
So it's more than that. I watched Spectre in theaters, and I remember them doing this. I'm like, I guess he was in one of the other ones, but it was just like, he might not have been. It might have been like Blofeld.
Yeah. I just feel like watching them back to back, it would have been so much cooler to have that as a reveal. But you're right. I mean, I guess you need a little setup with it. Let's see. Bond tells her to check files on Oberhauser before and after death. And she's like, what? And he's like, just fucking trust me. And then finally, he tries the exhaust button, which spits fire at Drax, and then he shoots. He tries the air button, and it shoots him out into the ejector seat. And then Drax looks at the fucking car. He's like, well, he must be dead because this guy's in the lake, so it's totally fine. But no, he's not dead. He just lands on the street above, and as he lands, it is that cool thing where he takes the
love it,
like hits the thing, takes it off, and he's like, hello.
I hope that from now on he does that in every single movie. I want at least one scene where he does that.
I just love how quiet it is. I love how it isn't this loud ass fucking parachute. I guess I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty whenever you drop out of the plane. But it's just like, it was so silent, just so casual. Like, all right, bro, I'm out, dog.
Moneypenny looks up Oberhauser and finds some old news articles about father and son killed in an avalanche. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, C is giving a rousing speech to pull all the country's surveillances on, put them all on steroids. Thankfully, the resolution does not pass, but M gets alerted to the car chase in Rome and calls Q to be like, where the fuck is Bond? And then Bond and Q's like, I'll cover. He's here, man. He's in Chelsea. And I'm like, I love Chelsea. That's a great little part of London. Bond, of course, is not in Chelsea. He's in Austria. He's gone to see the Pale King. And again, I think it would have been cool if they had let this be a reveal, but I get it. No one fucking remembers Quantum and don't remember Mr. White at all. When he gets there, he finds Mr. White. And he finds him basically in his secret little masturbatorium downstairs where he's just like, I'm here, man. I got all these screens, and this is where I spy on people.
His secret, what was that one more time?
Mm-hmm.
Masturbatorium.
Yeah. Okay, I thought I heard it right.
It's a special place, a special room you go just to...
Jesper Christensen has now played Mr. White in 3 Bond films, giving him the most appearances of the same villain in the franchise's history.
It's pretty cool. And I like this actor. I think he's good at what he does. But here we find him. He's been poisoned by thallium for disobeying Oberhauser. And he's like, man, the game is the game. But, man, this guy fucking took it too far. And it's like, bro, you were fucking horrible. You have done
you're a bad
horrible
person.
Shit. There is nothing this other guy could have done. You literally convinced a woman that the love of her life was in mortal peril. And then that guy, you just employed that guy to go do it to multiple other people.
Yeah,
That's the
really
worst thing.
That was a bad thing.
You're a fucker. And then, you're a piece of shit. Anyway, he gives he's like, I'm not gonna trust you. And Bond's like, why would you be hiding here? why would you be hiding here? You must have a daughter. And he's like, good job, good, you figured it out. It's like, that's weird.
There's so many steps before
weird.
that. Like it was like someone doing a cold reading, but being really bad. Where it's like maybe your wife. No, okay, your wife left you a long time ago. Perhaps it's your son. You don't have a son. Okay, the daughter. Oh, that's what it is. I knew it all along. And it's like, all right.
Stepdaughter, masturbatorium. Should I know?
And it's one of those things where you're like, so he makes the leap in logic that this guy would have died a long time ago, were it not for the fact that he must love his daughter so much. Not that he's just the most rotten villain ever and wants to live. This guy, I would have been like, you're just clearly fucking holding on to life because you're trying to figure out a way to save yourself because you're a fucking horrible villain who wants to live. It doesn't matter. Let's see. He goes, I can save your daughter. And he's like, I don't trust you. And he gives him the gun. He goes, here's my trust, and gives him the gun. And he's like, oh, wow, you shouldn't have done that because you fucking pissed me off and fucked up a lot of my life. Like, I probably wouldn't be in this situation if it wasn't for you, Bond. Like, everything up. So I should shoot you and then shoot myself. Whatever.
Really quick. What happened? Like, what happened with him? He, like, somehow there was something that
he said he was poisoned by thallium in his cell phone.
No, I understand that part. But I'm saying, like, why was there a disconnect between him and Spectre? Like,
because he said that Blofeld was too intense, too hardcore, and he had to leave because he was worried that the guy would. I think the implication was he was worried that the guy would use his daughter against him.
Yeah, he basically said like, yeah, I fucked up. I kind of crossed him, you know.
Yeah. And so now he's there, and Bond's like, okay, cool. And then another great little ambiguous moment where, we see the camera. Bond's already seen the camera, but luckily this whole thing's being recorded. And Mr. White won't snitch on because he's pregnant his daughter. But then Bond convinces him, and he goes, "Fine, you know what? Try if you want to find my daughter. Maybe try the Hoffler clinic." And it's like, no, she's there. Like, why are we being cryptic about this? And then he goes, "She can lead you to L'American." Why don't you just tell me it's a fucking hotel in
Who is
Tangier?
Remember?
Why don't you just tell me it's a hotel in Tangier? Like, just write down the information to where it is. I don't need your daughter. Like, I don't even need her at all. We can leave her out of this completely. Just tell me where the fucking hotel is. Mm-hmm. Or, better yet, all the information in the hotel. Just give me the coordinates to Blofeld's fucking base, and I'll just drop a fucking bomb on it. Problem solved.
I'm sure there were context clues that would have led the viewer to believe that L'American was a person. But to me, I always just thought it was a location
because it sounds like America.
Yeah, and then they have.
But it also sounds like the American.
Reveal. Yeah, they have the reveal though, where it's like,
it's a hotel.
American. It's not a person. I was like, oh, I never thought it was. Like, I don't know.
I'm totally with you.
I thought it was. I thought it was a dude.
Bond searches anyway. He gives him the gun, and then he gives him the height. He's like, "You're a kite dancing in a hurricane, Mr. Bond." And then he goes, "You know what you should do though before this is maybe wipe all the security footage that I've recorded. Like, you would think maybe you do that in case anyone comes to kill me, like fucking Batista, who you've already seen is on his way. So maybe just wipe that."
But you don't think it was a live feed already connected into the system that they were putting together?
No, because C goes back and watches it later, right? Or someone goes back and sees it later. So it's like you think that they played back through the footage. I don't know. Maybe
but I was just assuming that like that system that they were integrating worldwide was already kind of.
Why would you need it to be alive? I guess maybe it's a live feed. So if you leave,
they record the live feed, like what we are now.
Either way, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Let's see. M and C walk through the new intelligence building, which is dope as fuck. But he's like, "Oh, the government didn't pay for this. This is all private money." And I'm like, that seems like that's a bad idea. Like, maybe you shouldn't let private money have an investment in the CIA, something like that. Like, we probably wouldn't do that. Anyway, maybe we did. Who knows? And he's like, "Listen, man, when this thing goes online, it's going to be god tier surveillance." And M tells him that it's not about the info. It's how you use the info, right? It's not the size of your dick. It's how you use it. And C's like, no, it's the size too. Like, the size kind of matters a little bit because double O's are outdated. And M tells him, he's like, they got a license to kill, but it's also a license not to kill. Which I was like, okay.
Profound.
But like, I was like, doesn't everyone have a license not to kill though? What's that?
Like, I feel like this is going to your thing about like this is just Skyfall again. Like, we got that same thing last time with James Bond talking to Q. We was just like,
pull the trigger, or when not to pull the trigger.
Yeah,
that's what. Yeah, we got that literal same line. It's.
But Tim, they were expanding on it now. You know what I mean? It's just giving us more info this
It's
time.
I swear to God, it's like somebody read the script for Skyfall, but didn't realize they made a movie out of it, and then just stole moments of it and put it in Spectre. And then Sam Mendes was like, "This all seems so familiar. Why do I know all this?" And Roger Deakins calls him and he goes, "It's because we fucking made that movie already. It's called Skyfall. It was dope. Bardem had blonde hair.
And I don't remember it. Yeah,
it was awesome. Oh fuck, I don't know. That was last year." Anyway, C tells him you still can't control your agents, man. He plays back the conversation between Moneypenny and Bond, and he's like, "Dude, you're like, you got a bug in all the MI6 agents?" And he goes, "We watch everyone." And I'd be like, "That's illegal. You got to stop. I'm gonna call something."
That's in America. It's illegal. UK, they're totally fine with that. They got bugs everywhere.
Uh-oh.
That's fair. Batista finds Mr. White's body being eaten by crows and spots the camera, and the whole thing was recorded. Bond heads to the Hoffler clinic high up in the mountains, which looks very similar to the location in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which I thought was cool. A lot of that movie happens at the top of the Alps. Bond finds Dr. Madeline Swan, who is played by Leah Sudol, who is sort of, I guess, a therapist for super rich people. I don't know what she's doing at this clinic.
No one tells us.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Bond's like, you spent a long time doing actual real work. He's like, "I think you're hiding out." And then she goes, "I think you're a fucking orphan." And he's like, "Whoa, how'd you know that?"
Only one person called me out before.
Yeah, that's crazy. Apparently,
you're
he
really
just
good
had-
at your job.
Yeah, wow. I didn't maybe I'll sign up for 3 sessions a week. Let's fix me. Anyway,
I will say she has a teardrop just immediately drop down her eye when they're having that conversation, and it was just like so Death Stranding. Like I just had like an immediate sort of response to it.
She asked him. He filled out all the forms, but he didn't fill out what he does for a living. And he says, "It's not the kind of thing that looks good on a form." And she goes, "What do you do?" He goes, "I kill people." And then she immediately knows. She's like, "What? Where's my dad? What's going on? Did he send you here?" And he goes, "No. I'm here from your dad. I'm here to protect you, but I need to know what L'American is." And at this point, I'd be like, "It's a hotel in Tangiers. Get the fuck out. Are we good? Can you get out?" But she's like, "I'm going to be coy about this because this hotel literally means nothing to me. To her, it was just a place that she used to go on vacation with her parents once a year. That was it."
But later, it's revealed that she has very fond memories at this hotel. It's not that it means nothing.
But like,
she remember, there's the scene where he's like sitting there and he's like, "Sorry," and then he starts breaking everything.
But it's not of such global importance that if someone came to me and said, "Hey, I may or may not have killed your dad. I want to know what L'American is," that I would be like, "I have to hide this information from you." I'd be like, "It's a hotel. Are we good? I gave you everything you want. Don't torture me. Don't kill me. Don't kill my parents. Just, it's a hotel." It means, yeah, it's like when I used to go to the Hilton in Laughlin, Nevada. And people are like, "Where'd you spend your summers when you were a kid?" I'm like, "The fucking Hilton, Laughlin." I went to Laughlin.
It's just like that, yeah. Just
we
like
used to have a little tandem sport wave runner, and we just would hop on it, and I was so fat. And then when my parents later in life, they didn't come with me. Me and my brothers used to smoke cigarettes on it, and we would hop on it, and I was so fat. It's to the point where I had to.
I thought that's what you said. I thought you were saying like that it was so fast.
Yeah.
And I was like, did you say fat or fast?
Oh, I thought you were saying it was
fat,
so fast.
like PH.
No,
and I was like, "Oh no, Nick."
Yeah, I was so fat that I used
the
to be
second
embarrassed to take off my shirt and have to put the life vest on because you had to legally you had to wear a life vest. That I'd wear the shirt underneath it, and then you'd get. I would call it water, but really it was tit stains of the sweat underneath the tits.
God.
Okay, let's.
Anyway, let's see. This whole thing happens so fast. Bond gets kicked out, and he goes down to the bar to order a drink, and then Q meets him there. He's like, "Give him the fucking the butt flusher or whatever the hell the drink was."
That was the
and
butt
he tells
flusher.
Bond,
That's it.
he tells Bond that Franz Oberhausen is dead, and then all hell breaks loose. And then Bond goes, "Here, just pour this down the drain. We'll skip the middleman." I thought that was pretty funny. Bond goes outside and he sees.
Do you think that guy was just like, "What the? They didn't even fucking pay. Fuck them."
These assholes.
Yeah, the guy's like, "They didn't leave me a tip. What the fuck?" Maybe it's a country we don't tip. I don't know. I'm always weird about that when I travel. Let's see. Bond goes outside and he sees Drax just kidnapping the girl, and I'm like, okay, that happened very fast. And then
Way too fast.
Q's like, he's like, "Listen, here's the ring. Q, you got to go look into this ring." And Q's like, "Good. Luckily, I brought this cool pad with me that analyzes metal." Because I didn't.
Q strikes me as the guy that always carries weird pads. That he's probably has another one that analyzes poop. You know,
it's like how when Kevin used to go with us, when it was just me,
my go bags,
and Kevin, and he had a go bag, and I'd be like, "Kevin, I need a very obscure USB cable that was only made from 1991 to 1992." And Kevin's like, "This one?" And I'd be like,
Kevin's always holding USB-A printer cables on him.
But he would always do this. He would just have it in his hand and go, "This one," and it would unroll. And I'd be like, "That's a fucking cool way to do that." That's cool. Let's see. Anyway, Bond says he saw Oberhausen. He died 20 years ago. Who the fuck cares? We'll go on. He spots Batista. Security guards. And he beats the shit out of 2 security guards. And one of them goes to get up and he goes, no. Yeah. Like, no. And the guy's like, all right, you know what? You're right. You're right.
Like, yep.
You know what?
Clearly way over my paper.
Yeah. I'm out of my depth. I did 1 jiu-jitsu class and then I got this job and I never went back. So you good, me bad. Let's see. And then this action scene is fucking terrible, in my opinion. There's a part where they're gonna shoot her up with a drug, and then she turns on the guy, and then Draxter goes, well, "I'm pointing a gun at you, so don't do that again." And she's like, "Okay." And then Bond chases after them with a plane, and I was like, "What's the end game here with this plane?"
I kind of honestly, I think I zoned out quite a bit during this scene.
It's boring.
It's so audible for sure.
Wait, real quick though,
this is them trying to up the ante and trying to have like some big set piece moments that are similar to something like Mission Impossible or Fast and Furious, and it's not that this is another example. I don't think any of the action scenes is bad. I just don't think that it stands out at all. It just kind of is happening, and you're like, all right, cool.
They don't. And if you told me Bond stops a cavalcade of bad guys with a plane, I'd be like, that sounds cool. But the way they implement it is just like not.
He just kind of flies low, and they kind of just like veer off the road. Yeah.
So boring. And again, it's one of those where I'm like, why didn't you just have the fucking Aston Martin here? Wouldn't that be smart to have him have the fucking car here? Like Q pulled up in the Aston Martin and he stole Q's car. That would have been cool. And then they can actually have a car chase. Sorry, Kevin.
What's up, Kevin?
Oh, I just wanted to say, like, there is like Bautista's gun is like a double-barreled 1911 45 caliber, like huge fucking gun. I don't know if you guys noticed that where it has the 2 parallel barrels.
It's got the double barrels, yeah.
And he shoots through shit.
Yeah,
and it's like, that's pretty rad. That's a cool gun.
I want to say that in that first car chase, I was like, if this was Fast and Furious, Bautista would be driving a goddamn monster truck. After Bond in the Aston Martin.
And then one more thing. We have that scene where Q is on the the lift thing.
The
gondola with the weird guy who's clearly a bad guy. And then
you're a bad guy.
When they get down, he tries to get off, and then another bad guy walks in, and a bunch of other people, and it's just like, what is this? And then when they get off, like, he can sneak out, and it's just so stupid.
It's unnecessary. Yeah. It's a lot of this secondary action in this. I'm like, you should have just cut that out. This is dumb. Cut it out for time. We didn't need to hit 2:17. We could have hit 2 hours. This would have been fine. But I digress. Bond uses the plane to somehow stop 3 cars, and he ends up crashing through a barn, and I'm like, all right, and he doesn't kill anyone except for one of the henchmen, but Batista gets pushed through a window, but he's fine. And Bond shoots one of the guys in the car and then doesn't bother to just put another cap in Batista just for shits and giggles. I'd be like, I don't know if this guy's dead or not, but
why not? You know, he's clearly a bad guy.
It was weird because they showed him violently fly out the front of the car and hit the thing, and then we get the shot of, oh, he's still alive.
Yeah, hand.
It was weird. It's like, it just feels like it doesn't fit this universe.
Yeah.
It's very strange. Anyway, they meet back up at Q's hotel room later, and he's analyzing the ring, which I guess I didn't quite grasp what this was. And to be honest, and I hate it, I'm sorry to say this, I didn't bother to go back and watch it again. Evidently, it's a hard drive with the names of all of the people in Spectre in it, because it had Le Chiffre and it had all these people, had the pictures. So from this, they divine that the whole network's called Spectre or something, and then she goes, it's called Spectre. And you're like, how did you know that? And he's like, well, my dad was in it, and he talked a lot about Spectre, so I just been putting 2 and 2 together here, right? What was it, Kev? Do you remember? Do you know what it was?
No, I mean, I thought, like, were they taking fingerprints off the ring? I thought that was all very confusing.
No, I thought they were using, like, bio, whatever the fuck to
like DNA? But why would there be...
who had been, like, wearing that at any point.
So but why would Le Chiffre apparently wore one...
But like, why would all those guys wear the same ring? That doesn't make any sense.
That's a good question.
Yeah,
I didn't think
that
about
didn't
it.
make much sense.
Like, all right.
So all these people, every time they die, maybe they die and they take over for each other, but they serve very different purposes. Sciarra was an assassin. Le Chiffre was an accountant. That's weird. Yeah. Anyway, they get we get a lot of plot exposition here. Spectre, by the way, Quantum was a member of Spectre, just an offshoot, and you're like, great, fuck it, let's throw that away. Let's see. Swan's not happy. They argue, but then all of a sudden she's like, I trust you, Bond. She's like, I don't want any part of this world. And she's like, but oh no, that's later. Let's see. The chief, Mr. White, Quantum, all part of the organization, headed by Franz Oberhausen, who was still alive. Not really sure. Well, anyway, the name the organization's named Spectre.
Andy Cortez from Kind of Funny.
Yeah, Andy.
I have I'm looking up an explanation right here for the ring and the DNA issues. It says one of the biggest plot holes. The Spectre ring identifying previously encountered Spectre members explained. Q's analysis, if you freeze frame it, is supposed to indicate the ring is made of iridium, which is an extremely rare element known for having high density and resistance to corrosion. Toxicology from the shown members was to indicate traces of the element discovered in autopsy, which is how Q links it together. Apparently, Mendez left out the exposition in the scene because outside of the members, it's basically telling you information you already know, that Obenhauser is the head of Spectre.
It's interesting that like they're saying all the white gold rings, they're covered in iridium, so that doesn't seem super rare, you know?
No,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about
people have the same question we do. It's like how does the ring match eight bad guys?
At least I guess it makes sense. They had scanned the autopsies of all these dead people. See, it was good that Bond killed them all, you know?
Yep. Anyway, so I think Q tells him the name of the organization is Spectre, and then he's like, well, we still got to find this L'American, and then Madeline's like, that's not a person, it's a hotel, it's a place. I'll take you guys there. It's in Tangier. You could have probably fucking Google searched that, and it would have been one of the only things that came up. Doesn't matter. That's where
Tangier,
Mr. White,
by the way, sounds like a place that Johnny Ace would go to.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
If you Google Tangier, it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they shot that scene there where they're walking up, because we see the next scene where they're walking up that street. And it looks gorgeous.
That's where they grow tangerines.
That's actually where the tangerine was invented.
Wow.
Yeah, drunk dude, an orange and a lemon, and he just got them to fuck.
He was like, "You guys know you've been wanting this for years. Just give in." Sprinkles a little bourbon on top of him. He's like, come on, let's lubricate this. All right. Let's see. She tells Bond, they go to the hotel, and it's this fucking rundown piece of shit hotel. But she tells Bond, it's like, this is a place where my dad and my mom used to come all the time. And then after they broke up, my dad used to come here all the time. And Bond's like, that's a lovely story. But then he starts tearing the fucking place apart.
I like that he apologizes, and he's like, all right, dude, I'm sorry. Like, I have to do this.
Yeah.
They get drunk, and Bond's like, I think this is usually the time when women fuck me. And then Swan's like, I'm not going to do that. That's weird and creepy. You come near me and I'll fucking kill you. And Bond's like, well, you're really drunk right now, but I'll let you sleep it off. There you go.
Then she gets into a nightie at some point.
Some point she gets into a sexy nightie, and Bond's like, did I put you in that? You'll never know. Maybe that's weird and creepy.
Yeah, this whole part is very, very odd. I think especially because it's like, her mood changed so drastic, and obviously she's drunk, and your spirits change or whatever. But
she's also been someone tried to kill her. She's had a traumatic experience.
But it's just like she's so drastically changed. It's almost like they're two different people from one scene to the next, and I feel like just the acting there and what they were trying to convey with her character was so inconsistent.
But she also, like, we see her lay down and go to sleep in this like white nurses looking outfit. Yeah. And then she wakes up in a little nightie. And it's just like, when did that transition happen?
That was weird.
Yeah.
I will say, though, just as a positive note, I do like the costume design aside from this part. I like what they're all wearing, especially when they go to the desert. And it's like desert wear. It's kind of a throwback to like 60s style clothing. He wears that sort of like brown suit, which normally I wouldn't like, but it looks really fucking cool. Anyway, later that night, Bond sees a rat, and then it goes through a hole, and he's like, "Oh shit! I didn't even think maybe there's a hidden wall here." Even though, like, literally, there's always a hidden wall. That'd be the first. By the way, if I go to a place where a spy used to spend all of his summers, I'd be like, "There's a hidden wall somewhere."
Yeah,
that's the first thing.
It's not only the hidden wall thing, but like rats just go through holes when there's not a hidden wall.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's true.
Into the wall.
True. Also, he spills the water, and all the water kind of like goes that way.
What is that?
That makes no sense. That just
Kevin,
makes the floor is not leveled at that point.
Kevin,
right.
it's like in The Last Jedi when they're in the cave and they're like, "Where are the ice foxes going?
Mm-hmm.
There's a hole somewhere here. We have to go find it." That's what this is.
And they find out the hole is really small, and they need someone with the Force. Remember?
You know, it's funny too. In that one, it's a rebel base. So you think they may I have some sort of map of that base because
let's get them to Aston Martin.
They fucking didn't because they just left that.
It's weird. Anyway, all right.
Wait,
so
also
Bond goes,
really quick, it wasn't like a hidden door. They had just closed that room off and patched it off completely. That's not practical. Make
I
him
have
hit
to
his door.
see Robert De Niro from Meet the Parents in there, like doing his little.
Oh yeah, his little.
He's like, "Could you
reconnaissance.
milk me?"
That was
Could you
cool
milk
when they
me,
opened
Papa?
up the RV and it was in there. Remember that? Remember
Yeah,
that?
that's cool.
It did bring up the question. I was like, how did you get into this room?
Well, that's the thing. You like at some point, Mr. White was like, "I'm never coming here again." And then I imagine he put on his, like shitty jeans and patched it all up, made sure it looked nice.
Shitty jeans.
Well, because you don't want to get that stuff on your normal
Yeah, of
pants.
course,
Yeah.
Every dad's got a pair of those jeans.
Yeah.
The jeans that I fix stuff in.
Kevin
These are my
only
underwear.
ever wears that.
I messed them up recently. It sucks.
Gross.
Goes.
So Bond just decides to take his fist to the wall and he bursts through like a goddamn marauder. And then he finds this old school, cool, again, another Metal Gear Solid moment I feel here where it's like, this is a cool, like, spy lab, spy office. He finds a tape of Vesper Lynd's interrogation. I was like, we didn't need that. We did not need that.
And he doesn't even watch it, too. He just
No,
looks
he's
at
like,
it
I'm
and
done.
no.
And then Madeline finds
with DOS on it.
Madeline finds some coordinates, and then Bond fires up a really cool old computer, and he goes, Mr. White was scanning for a particular satellite phone. He was trying to find Oberhauser, and he sent Bond here to finish the job, is what he says. And I'm like, well, I don't know about that. But again, we all know that everyone's looking for Oberhauser. Like, this is the main thing. This is not necessarily a reveal, but I guess the coordinates are where they're supposed to go. And then suddenly Madeline, after literally saying, I don't want any part of this life, goes, I'm coming with you. And he's like, really? And she's like, yeah, I really want to know what happened to my father. And he goes, well, I told you what happened. Your dad fucking killed himself because he was a spy and a bad guy. So just go, just leave. But he's like, okay, fucking cool. Let's go on the train because I want to bang you again. Or I want to bang you at some point. Anyway, they track the satellite coordinates in the middle of nowhere in the African desert. And then another terrorist attack in Cape Cod happens, which over in London, guess what, guys? Another terrorist attack. We got to fucking fire up Nine Eyes. And it's like, it's finally official. It's been sanctioned. And M didn't get the meeting invite because they didn't invite him. And he's like, ooh. And the new system goes live in 72 hours. And it's like, why not just fucking put it live now? Why 72 hours? If there was a terrorist attack, put it live now. Anyway.
I feel like this movie does that a couple times where it's like, why is there a timeline on? It's like when Blofeld gives the bomb, it's like, why even give him time?
Right?
Tim, I fucking hated that. That's so Austin Powers, like Dr. Evil video game shit where like when he eventually gets to her in that little room, like I expected there to be alligators or something in there. Like, like it was so tropey, man.
Dude, and speaking of video game shit, there's this scene too where like when him and the girl escape the thing that's about to blow up. Like Blofeld's little lair, and there's just guns on the floor everywhere. He's just like picking it up, changing his ammo, deciding what gun he wants to hold on to.
He's like, "Oh, this one's rare. Let me get that one."
The way they get out of that, we'll talk about more than we get there. But
yeah,
right,
we'll get there because it's terrible. Okay, so anyway, so Bond, I guess against his better judgments, they go on a train, and Bond gives Swan a gun. And she's like, "What if I shoot you by mistake?" And he goes, "It wouldn't be the first time." Remember that, Moneypenny? Stay at your fucking desk. Never go back out into the field again.
I was wondering if you were going to get back to that.
Fucking terrible. Just stay there and answer the phone. That's safe. That is a safe place for you to be. Anyway, he tries to give her a quick tutorial on how guns work, but we get the fucking. She's like, I fucking know, bro. My dad was a bad motherfucker. So she does the cool thing. She cocks it and goes boo boo boo, and it's like, all right, you could have just said you know how to shoot.
To prove that she knows how to shoot guns, she removes the magazine and like unchambers the bullet. Like that doesn't seem like a hard thing. I feel like you guys could figure that out. You know?
No,
I'd be like, Tim's never handled a gun before, but he's
the tip of the gun, the bullet was.
Dude. Yeah, no, but it's the way she did it.
Front side, back side.
She did it in a way that looked really cool and sleek, and it was like she just looking at it. She wasn't even looking at the gun. She just all did it, and it was like, okay, she knows what she's doing. This girl's been around the battlefield once or twice.
Real quick, did you guys notice who that girl is? Someone in the chat just said it, and I totally forgot about that.
What? Leah Sado?
Yeah, she was fragile in.
I made that. I already said that.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah.
She was fragile.
I'm sorry.
What?
I'm sorry.
She was fragile in Death Stranding.
Yeah.
I said that like the tear fell down her face, which like always happened in Death Stranding.
Oh.
Cool.
But also from Mission Impossible.
Yeah, she was the record store person, right? In the beginning of it.
No. She was the she was the agent in the building, the Burj Dubai, the Burj Khalifa.
Oh, fuck, that's
right. That's right. Yeah, she was getting that. She was the one that was like brokering the deal.
Yeah, she's the one who had the glasses that like saw the guy saw her as the killer.
printed.
Yeah, and Paula
assassin or
Patton
whatever.
throws her out of the fucking.
Yeah.
window. We should go back and watch Mission Impossible.
I know. Let's do it again, guys.
Good movies.
What a good movie, man! God damn.
Anyway, she tells a story about how some guy came to kill her dad one time, but he didn't know there was a cabinet. He keeps a gun under the kitchen sink, and so she killed that guy's ass, and that's why she hates guns. And
She
and
killed
bleach.
that
I don't know.
guy's ass.
Whatever. Q and Moneypal tell M where Bond is, but M's like, dude, we can't track him.
Wait.
Don't you turn everything off, because if C knows it, then everyone knows it.
Sorry, one more question. She did kill that person that came with the gun?
Yeah, that's why
Okay,
she hates
'cause
all this thing. She was forced to kill a guy.
I thought later when Blofeld was like, I came to visit once, I thought he was implying that he was that dude.
Maybe, but
And
maybe
she was like, I don't remember that. And he's like, I remember it.
Well, maybe. Who knows? This movie's ambiguous, to say the least. Let's see. That night, Bond and Madeline meet in the dinner car, and both of them look fucking amazing. And she's like, you shouldn't stare. And he's like, you shouldn't look like that. And I was like,
Fucking, I love that. I love it so much because it was one of those things. I'm like, why again?
She looks great in this
you're
scene.
older than ever. I still don't buy this whole you can get anyone you want. And then he does things like that. I'm like, oh fuck, I'd fuck you right now.
Yeah. And then they order vodka martinis dirty, and I'm like, oh, I see where this is going. And then she asks him why he chose to be an assassin. He's not even sure he had a choice.
Can you imagine being the fucking waiter in this scene where she's like, I'll take a martini dirty, and he's like, same. And the waiter's like, they're gonna fuck. These guys are gonna fuck right now.
I'm sure, the waiters deal with that sort of stuff all the time.
Oh,
Sure,
when I serve food, we would absolutely spot that. We'd go back like, these two are gonna fuck, or more likely, because I used to serve food at the Irvine Spectrum, I'd be like, that dude's with a prostitute. That woman is working. Anyway,
Wait, people take prostitutes to like nice restaurants?
escorts. You have to take them to dinner first, apparently,
You have to. Whoa.
because the sex, I guess, is optional. Who knows?
Yeah.
We used to see it all the time.
Well, no, isn't it that it's prostitution if you just fuck them? So you have to like take them on a date? Isn't it? Yeah,
I think it's also prostitution if you take like if there's money involved,
in the movies,
right?
Kevin.
20 years, you know what I mean, Sam?
You know, in the
19 years.
movies when they're like, all right, we're about to do the super illegal deal, but I have to be your lawyer for this, so you have to give me $1.
Yeah.
Give me $1 right now, and
Yeah,
I can accept
so that I
the
can't be forced
Yeah.
to talk about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect example. Anyway, they order. She asks him, and he goes, "I don't know why I'm doing this." And she tells him he always has a choice. As they drink, and then they drink to that, and then Bond is a cool little shot where Bond sees Batista coming up on his 6 through the little like silver plate cover, and then he's like, "I'm gonna fuck this guy up," and Batista's like, "No, you're not."
Yeah, no.
Does not even have time to react like that. It's the quickest start to a fight scene I've ever seen, and I appreciate it. He
It's
just fucking
great.
goes right into it, and then the train just gets destroyed. Also, James Bond movies love trains.
They
Has
really
there been
do.
a train in every fucking movie?
There was definitely a train in Skyfall. They fought on top of it.
Yeah,
And there was
cool.
one in Casino Royale for sure. I
don't know if there's
I
one
just
on
love
bottom.
it. It's
This fight scene is fantastic, and I love how the music is just pulled out of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
this
music
is
is
brutal.
pulled out, and it's just fucking hard ass hits, and it's totally the smaller, cunning, quick guy against the big, beefy, fucking brooding guy, and it's just awesome, dude.
But I don't feel like we see that. I feel like we see this guy just beating the shit out of him, and like to me it seems like 007. Oh shit, sorry. Is not like he doesn't stand a chance.
No, I mean, he gets some hits in. Like there are
He
some
gets some
moments-
hits in, but they're not
Yeah.
doing shit. Like it is Batista
I like
very
it.
much grabbing
that's why I
him
loved
around, and I think it was cool. I just think that the ending of it is really disappointing, where it's just like, oh, I guess he died. Like, it would have been cooler if it was like, oh no, he just got his fucking like arm ripped off, and he's definitely gonna die. You know, instead of just
So-
like maybe we'll see him in the next movie.
Maybe, who knows?
'Cause
Maybe
he
he's gonna
just-
come back and bite
he
through
just
some
fell.
shit like Jaws.
I
Either
like
way,
I just didn't like the shit. Like it felt like they didn't have him say anything the entire
Yeah.
movie just to have that moment, and it was
Yeah.
just like we really didn't need a comedic beat here, especially so poorly delivered by Dave Batista.
it's true.
Nick, did Oddjob also not speak?
I don't remember him speaking a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
because
that was.
just like I don't understand why they didn't make him Oddjob. Wasn't Oddjob's Blofeld's dude, or was he Goldfinger's dude?
I think it was Goldfinger's dude, because I think that Oddjob is from Goldfinger.
Okay.
Is this the final movie until?
Yeah, until next year.
Yeah, until No
yeah.
Time to Die.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Okay.
Either way, Leah Seydoux comes in and saves him a little bit, but then she gets beat up, and then he kicks Batista off the truck, and then she goes,
Get off my train.
"Get off my train!" And then she goes, "What do we do now?" And Bond looks at her, but the implied message is now we fuck.
And
I mean, it cuts to
hard
them
cut.
going to their like room and making
At this
out.
at
super
this
hard.
moment, I I looked. I had gotten a Slack or something happened on a text message thread that we were on. So I looked down, but I heard the line, "What do we do now?" And in my head, I jokingly said, "Now we fuck."
Mm-hmm.
And then I rewound a little bit, and then the scene pops up again. It's like, oh yeah, they're totally yeah. The battle,
that's what they're doing. Yeah.
they almost both died to this giant man, but they chained him, and he's dead somewhere on the side of a railroad track. And now we're gonna
Nothing gets you going like that.
Yeah.
Man.
Now we fuck. The next day they get dropped off at a train station in the middle of nowhere. And again, I made a little quick note. They look great here. I love the costume design here. I love that it all matches. I think that the locale they shot in was gorgeous. And they soon enough they're like, "What the fuck are we gonna do?" He's like, "I don't know." And he looks out and he sees something coming toward him in the desert. And she's like, "What is that?" And he goes, "That is a 1948 Rolls-Royce Silver Wraith, which is the coolest name a car has ever been named." Fuck you, Aston Martin Vanquish or Vantage or whatever. The Silver Wraith is the shit. Anyway, what exactly the plan is here, I don't know. They just get in. The driver's like, "Hey, please," and they're like, "Okay, we'll just get in. We'll just drive
what was the plan
these guys."
even before that? They're just waiting for another train. Like
don't
it's
know.
these
This is all
moments
fucking
where,
weird, man.
Where it's
At
like,
least in Skyfall, the plan was, "Hey, have
Why
you
is
guys
the
seen
station
that?"
here?
I don't know. I mean,
bad guys, Tim.
there are train stations out all over the place in the desert, but I don't know.
But
They get dropped.
Like there in the desert, like there's literally nothing around.
I mean, my only touchstone for that is other movies that have those, like the Darjeeling Limited and
I've
things
seen-
like that.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Though.
Yeah, I saw a vlog recently where there was a dude in England, or no. There was a dude just like somewhere in Europe or Asia, somewhere in the Eastern Hemisphere, and like he was stopped off at a train station where it was just like fucking desert, dirt everywhere. It was like, where did this train station go? So that wasn't too hard for me.
Did he have a lot of water?
No, but he was vlogging.
Yeah, so that
All right, so he doesn't need it then. You're right.
It's not hard for me to believe. I don't understand the function of that.
Yeah, I don't either. Where it's like,
well,
again, this is another one of those things where it's like, were they expecting to then take another train to somewhere that they could rent a car so that they can drive into this place? You know what I mean? Like that's where it's like, what was the plan here? It just so happens that they knew that they were coming and they sent this guy to pick them up.
Yeah, I don't really know. And again, I think this is, at least in Skyfall, they were like, "Hey, when M was like, what's the plan?" He goes, "Have you seen Home Alone? That's the plan." And M's like, "Okay, I got it." In this one, it's like, what possible other outcome could you expect? Then you just walk right into the bad guy's lair. He knows you're coming. You're gonna get killed. He's gonna torture and kill you. There's nothing else you can do here. Oh, don't forget though, I've got the watch. And it's like, this guy knows everything. He wouldn't know you had a watch on. Don't worry about it.
He's got a bomb on him, so that's. I feel like that was his plan.
I guess maybe that's the plan, unless they took your watch away, and then you'd be kind of fucked.
Sure,
but anyway, they pull up to this dope-ass desert getaway and are greeted by Oprah Hauser's butler. And he has that great moment where he's like, lunch is at 12. You guys got some clothes in the room, but also here. And he offers him a tray, and Bond's like, "Oh, shit, okay, here's the gun. Be careful. It's loaded." And it's like, well, all right.
I like the actor that plays the maybe that's not him.
The butler?
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of the weird
actor?
accountant from Casino Royale. He's like, we got all the numbers.
The happy guy.
His face in this, I was like, why'd you go with that take?
No idea.
He looked so fucking goofy.
Bond goes to his room where he finds a suit and a print of that bad Photoshop job. Only this time you can see that their picture is Oberhauser. And it's just like a weird, de-aged Christoph Waltz, and it's creepy as shit. Anyway, they dress for lunch and head to the observatory where they find a meteorite was waiting for them. And this is supposed to be a deep moment where he's like, this thing traveled for years and years and years until it finally met Earth. And it was like, it's this unstoppable force. And then Bond's like, but it stopped. Like it hit Earth. Your metaphor is stupid. And Christoph Waltz is like, okay, come with me. We'll go to the other room. The other room is more impressive. This is just a meteorite room.
This is supposed to be the rats in the fucking cage,
which was fucking a cool thing to say to someone before you tortured and killed them. Was like, my grandmother had to figure out how to kill rats, so she turned them into carnivorous fucking other rat eating, not carnivorous. What's the word I'm looking for? Where you eat your own species, cannibalistic rats, and you're like, that's fucking crazy. Your grandma could do that. How's her paella?
Man, I'd really like to eat some paella right now. Why would you say that? It's such an excellent.
Anyway, turns out this place is all about information, man. It's a center for operations. And again, that would be really impressive if we hadn't seen the dumbed down, way cooler, way more vicious version of that in Skyfall. And then he shows M he's like, this is how much access I have, and he turns on the security at MI6, and then we see M's parting message to his people. Turns out C is one of his people, and everyone's like, yeah, no fucking shit, we knew that. That's the least impressive thing anyone's ever said in a movie. But he's like, why go with C?
Remember when what's her face gets the penny money or whatever her name is, gets the phone call? And she's Money Penny, thank you. And she's hanging at like there's a guy there talking to her.
Yeah.
Was that C? Is that how he got the bug in there? No, they're just sneaking in.
I think they just have access to everyone's cell phones.
Okay.
And I'm like, good for you. He's like, why did you pick C? He's like, well, he's a visionary like me. He understands one crucial fact, that a terrible event can lead to something wonderful. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting concept, but okay. I'm not going to talk about that too much. Good enough. Oberhausen has been behind it all. He's like, I've been behind Lashif, Silva, Green, Lind, M. I've been the author of all your pain, Bond. And he's like, all right, cool. So if I kill you, I don't ever have to worry about anything again.
Seems pretty simple.
Great.
And then another guy comes on. He's like, I was over Oberhausen.
Yeah, I'm Uber Oberhauser. And you're like, all right, we're done here. Then he shows Madeline her father's last conversation with Bond. And Bond's like, no, don't watch it. Oh. And then Madeline watches and Mr. White blows his brains out. And she's like, ugh. And he's like, oh, well, it was not worth me getting hit over the fucking head. And then she says, the things that bring, Oberhauser goes, the things that bring people together, out of horror, beauty. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Anyway,
well, because
Blofeld the entire time, it's like everything that he says, like Christoph Waltz is so great that I'm just like, I love you and I'll watch you say anything. And this movie is proof of that.
Yeah,
because you're not saying a single thing interesting, and your tactics are stupid as fuck.
Yeah.
Like everything that he does, I'm like, okay, so you later put the fucking things into his head to like screw him up, and it doesn't screw him up.
Doesn't do anything.
No, it doesn't work.
Like,
But
we
it's
need a
fucked
shot
up,
of him,
though.
like, his
Ugh.
vision going blurred or something and being like, wow, this guy's really crazy and creepy. It's supposed to be, like, sadistic because they have that moment where they talk about, like, we'll just get into that scene next. So they knock Bond out and he wakes up and we see a white cat and everyone's like, hey, we forgive everything about this movie because the white cat's in it. Good for you. And then Blofeld starts drilling holes in Bond's head and was supposed to mess with his brain, but it didn't really do anything. And then Bond screams. It's like, oh, it's that.
Why did it not
It's
do
such
anything?
a dumb thing to.
No, but it's revealed, of course, that the whole reason Oberhauser hates Bond was because when Bond's parents died in an avalanche or a climbing accident. I don't know how many people died in avalanches here. I don't know. They died, so Oberhauser's father took him in, and he liked Bond a lot more because Bond's not a fucking psychopath.
Sure.
And then, of course, Blofeld's like, so I had to kill my dad. And I guess I killed him in a climbing accident, but I also killed myself, but I don't know. It's a lot of weird stuff. And Bond's like, you're fucking creepy as shit. You've always been creepy. You've always been the creepy kid. You fucking known it.
What up?
Yeah. Now she knows it, and everyone else in this room knows it. See the guy over there in the corner? He knows you're fucking
knows
creepy.
it too.
So,
Fucking
yeah,
creep.
like, so Blofeld is angry and jealous
Yes.
that his father kind of,
Like,
you know,
Bond
brought
more.
Bond in. Yeah, but it's like the dude's parents died, right? Your dad's just being a good dad. Your
Well, I
dad's
think he's
just
a
like
sociopath. I think
Yeah,
he's
he's
supposed to be
definitely
like
a
psycho.
sociopath. Yeah.
But the thing that just really doesn't make sense about this movie is he's mad at James Bond. Like his plot is he's mad at James
No,
Bond.
but he's
in the
also a
same
piece
way
of
that
shit
the
evil
guy from the last
person.
movie was mad at M. And so
Yes.
he's like, I'm going to
you're the better
do
son.
all of this different shit to fuck with you and be the author of your pain over the course of 4 movies plus all of the shit that happens in between.
Mhm.
And it's just like, why not just go find this fucker and kill him? Like,
Well, I don't think that's how this has gone. Like, this is how it's just randomly gone down. His plan, I don't think he was been going after Bond until Bond interacted with his world, where Bond
that's
came
even
in
worse.
in Casino Royale, and then he was like, "Oh well, we have this lady who's fucking we're gonna use to get this money," but it's like, "Oh, she's also connected to Bond. Now let's kill her," you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just like then you don't get to say you're the author of the pain. It's like I'm a pain.
It's all bad. Anyway, keeps torturing Bond. Bond's able to thankfully they put his hands back behind his head behind his back so he can start fucking around with his Omega watch, and we see the logo on that a lot, and they paid a lot of money for that. He turns the bezel on it, and it activates the self-destruct button, the bomb button, anyway, the timer for a minute, and then he's like, I'm gonna fuck with Blofeld's like, I'm gonna mess with your recognition, and when I do this, you're not gonna recognize anyone, and then he does it, and nothing happens, and you're like, that's weird.
So
And he goes, do you still recognize her? And he goes, I'd recognize you anywhere. And she's like, we gotta fuck again. Should we fuck again?
Fuck later? Yeah, sure. Oh, let's have a full conversation. That's vague. I'm not going to tell you exactly what's going on, but I'm going to tell you time flies and all this fucking shit. Right. Blah blah blah. 10 minutes are going to pass, and Blofeld's just going to be over there like looking at us like, I guess I'm going to let them talk. That's cool.
Totally
anyway,
fine.
Yes, why not?
Is Blofeld the guy that was like, no, Bond, I expect you to die?
No, that was actually Goldfinger, I think.
Okay.
I think I got that wrong when I was joking around at KFAF. I'm pretty sure.
I didn't watch the KFAF.
If you Google that real quick, but I think it's Goldfinger, and I think he uses a laser to cut Bond's dick.
Well, I mean, it's funny
because Mr. Bond,
the setup for it looks so much like he's in the similar position, you know?
Yeah. Well, Bond's always getting tortured by someone. Ian Fleming really had like a torture fetish, but
I thought it was Dr. No that said it.
Okay, everyone's got their own opinion. Sounds like.
Right. Kevin will look it up. I can't remember offhand.
It was. I think it actually is.
It's kind of a redhead.
No, it's a little bit older gentleman.
Everybody's saying it's Goldfinger in chat.
It's
there
Goldfinger.
You go, Goldfinger.
There you go. Let's see. Bond says time flies, and Madeline's like, I gotcha. And then she just slides the thing across. Stupid. She just slides it across the thing, and it only blows up Blofeld. And you're like, cool, he's done. And then Bond shoots his way out of the facility as it kind of blows up, and it's so lazy. It's so lazy. There's like a music cue where he's like, I gotta kill that one guy off into the thing. And then he pulls the trigger. The guy, it's like, what? And the guy just like drops.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, he's done. And at this point, I forgot there was a third act of this movie. So I was like, thank fucking God it's done. Mm-hmm. Thank God it's done. They go up, they fly out, and then we go to London. I'm like, oh my God, there's more. I forgot there's more. Why would there need to be more? Like, we have all the evidence we need to take all these people. We could just, it's a foregone conclusion. Everyone's dead. But no, we've got 20 more fucking minutes left of this movie.
Wait, but we have that moment where they run outside and they kill the guards that are standing there. And then they look back and the whole thing explodes and then explodes even harder. It's just like, all right, okay, clearly everyone's dead.
And also, Nick, it's not 20 minutes. Like, I feel like it was like 40 minutes after this.
It was so
there was a long time period after this.
So they have to stop Nine Eyes now, and it's like, you think you just take some people over there and stop it. It's not that fucking hard. You're still M. Anyway, Madeline and James part ways, and you're like, that's a terrible idea. She's going to get kidnapped. Okay. And then she gets kidnapped, and then they take him to an old burned out MI6. Let's see. Then they all meet up, and then they split up, and Bond gets kidnapped, and they take him to the old burned out MI6 headquarters, and it's like, think on your sins. And then Bond breaks free and beats the shit out of those guys, and there's explosives everywhere because they were going to demo it. And that was something that was set up earlier. When C gets into his office, M is waiting there for him, and M's like, fuck you, I still have a gun. And he's like, M must stand for moron, and then C stands for careless, because I took all the bullets out of your gun.
Oh my God, they say, I don't know what M stands for, and moron. They say moron again.
No, he goes M stands for moronic. Moron.
It's
like,
okay. But again, like, how fucking lazy do you have to be to literally steal the very first scene from Casino Royale? Where he's like, you don't really know anything. And Bond goes, well, I know where you keep your gun, which was a fucking cool thing to say to someone who thought they had the drop on you. And it turns out you just flipped it on them. That one line has so much like fucking awesome implications to it. In this one, it's like, no, you're dumb. No, you're dumb. Well, no, A stands for asshole, Andy. You know, like Nick stands for fucking
I thought they were going to do like the C word. Like
me too. Like
when that happened, I was like,
careless.
They're actually going to do it? And then I was like, well, I am watching the FX cut. So maybe it is careless.
Anyway, Bond walks through this fucking weird like horror show carnival ride of MI6 with pictures everywhere. And it's
Can you imagine Blofeld setting this up? Being like, oh, I'm going to put a picture. He's going to walk down this hallway and I'm going to put pictures here. So when he walks down, he's going to be like, oh, fuck, those are all like Blofeld related things.
This is so like Batman the Animated Series.
Totally. Like, this is Joker bullshit.
Yeah, like putting the bat face up everywhere and like silly shit. I was like, what?
Well, then he walks into that room, shoots him, and makes like the Spectre sign out of the glass. Mm-hmm. Where like it's silly.
You know, it's funny.
This could have been fucking cool, man, if they made Blofeld like a Joker character that had been built up, so that when we get to this moment, it's like, this fucker is crazy, so I believe this in this world. Now it's just like, you're the author of pain. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever, man.
What I always think about in moments like this is I'm like, okay, how did this go? Hey, Phil, come here. Phil, you've been doing great for me. I sent you some pictures. I need you to go into Photoshop, make sure they're all the right size, and then print them out. And don't forget Scotch tape. We're gonna need a lot of Scotch tape.
Get the double-sided one.
Go in there and just... Yeah. Can you imagine being the henchman that's like, this is some fucked up shit?
What printer? What printer is the Wi-Fi on, by the way?
Yeah.
What
we use
printer's
the
the
Epson?
Wi-Fi on? Oh,
Don't use the
no,
Epson because it
the
doesn't.
HP has more ink in it. Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
it's got more ink in it.
Gotcha. I'm gonna walk in. Can you imagine being James Bond? You walk in, dead people. Oh fuck, that's my name. Oh, this name. Oh fuck, that's me.
Yeah, damn it. He's coming after me. I'm next.
So weird. Anyway, all shit starts breaking loose, and Blofeld's there, and he's behind the glass, and he's like, I kidnapped her, and he's like, she's somewhere in here, and Bond's like, she's in M's office. Of course, she has to be in M's office, right? He's like, no, she's not there. You can't find her. And he's like, I'm gonna go right to M's office. She's clearly gonna be there. Anyway, meanwhile, we're having a secondary action over in the intelligence place where M and C get into the lamest fucking fight ever. And then M accidentally or maybe on purpose drops C out the fucking top floor.
He doesn't drop him. Like they break
they
the
fight
rail
over a gun or something.
They break the rail, and then he like goes to the corner and is like tipping over, and M's just like, fuck, and I don't have to help. You know, I'm not gonna kill you, but I'm not gonna save you.
I'm not gonna kill you, but I don't have to save you. What movie, Tim?
Batman.
Batman Begins.
That's the one.
Oh.
I don't have to save you. Well, that's the same as killing someone.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Just FYI,
It's just you're not sure. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like for the rest of your life, you're gonna think, oh, did he survive?
Exactly.
Did somebody?
Let's see. Bond goes. He searches the building and then realizes she's up in M's office. When he gets there, and then he hears her start screaming, and he looks over in what I assume is M's personal bathroom, where M used to take a kiki, and then she's just there,
What
tied
in
up
God's
into
good
the
name
bed.
could a Kiki be?
She's a boo boo. It's like when old women kind of have that like
Wait, hold
watery
on.
poop.
Kiki is an ubu.
A boo boo.
Oh, boo boo.
Kiki's an Ubu, you fucking idiot.
Yeah. So she screams, and he finds her there, and he cuts her out, and then he goes, "Do you trust me?" And she's like, "Get me the fuck out of here. That's what I want."
Aladdin shit.
And he just jumps down a hole and then lands in a
This is
net.
straight up Aladdin.
Yes.
It's fucking weird.
When did he set up the
thing-
net? When did he find
No,
out
I
that the
think-
net was
I think
there?
the
What's
net
the
was
context
there
of that net?
The net's there as a safety net for anyone that falls. That's how I read it. Where like when you're doing demo and construction, they'll set those up in places so just in case someone accidentally falls down the thing.
No, bullshit.
More likely
people
than not,
just
people.
fall and get hurt. Get on workers' comp.
But also, why would you put the net 8 floors down? Maybe put a net on every
That's
floor.
the
That has
thing.
the
It
hole.
just it makes no sense, and it's just like, oh, this is
Also-
like the couch from earlier. Like that kind of implied that James Bond planned the couch earlier.
This is
You know, it's
weird.
like, this is dumb. You can't just
But-
jump off shit and land on
No,
stuff.
he's really good
Well-
at noticing big things that he can land on underneath him.
It's true. That's one of the new skills he picked up since Casino Royale. That
Yeah.
parkour, following people. Actually, he hasn't quite figured out how to follow people yet. Because with a plane, it's like, oh, he's right there. Anyway, thankfully there's a boat down there too. So as the MI6 or MI5 office starts to explode, the boat shoots out onto the river, and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then Bond sees the helicopter, and he's like, how am I going to do this? Now, in other Bond movies, he would empty the clip and miss, and he'd have to come up with a very clever way of taking down the helicopter. But in this one, he just tries a little harder, and the last shot hits the thing.
I couldn't believe that's the direction they took this.
Like, it's so lazy.
As he
fucking
keeps
lazy.
shooting, I'm like, okay, what's next? What's next here? Are you gonna launch up the boat somehow, the helicopter? Or like, what's the plan here, Bond? And then he just kept shooting better, skate
like,
better.
You have, or like, exactly. And, or like, for instance, I don't know, if I was sitting in the writer's room, I'd be like, well, Q's not doing anything right now, and he just hacked into Nine Eyes. So why don't you have Nine Eyes fire up and hack into the helicopter's like computer program and just take it down?
Shut it
have
down
him do something
somehow.
cool, and then they have to have a hand-to-hand fight where he has to kill him one more time. This movie at no point like puts them against each other. He just crashes on a bridge, and then everyone surrounds him, and then Bond walks up, and he's about to pull the trigger on him, and he's like, I'm out of bullets. And I'm like, is that a reference to something earlier? I can't remember.
Why'd you say that?
I don't know.
There's nothing clever in this movie, man. That's what
But
really
also,
got
like,
me out about it.
why are you leaving this guy alive? He's a genius, and he only wants one thing: to torture and kill you for the rest of your life. Put a bullet in his fucking
But then he
head.
wanted him to kill him, so it's one of those things like now if he kills him, he's doing him a favor, you know what I mean? Instead, he's gonna go to jail or one of those small box jails.
You're gonna let this guy go to jail where he's got, by the way, infinite resources. He's just gonna break out of jail. This is the Batman
Also,
thing over and over again. Just kill
You
him.
remember this is the same organization, you know, that like with Quantum, where they were just like, we have people everywhere, right, Steve? And Steve was like, oh yeah, and like
Oh,
then
that's my cue.
tried to shoot you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just shoot him. Now, the only thing I can think of is that they wanted him to interrogate him to
I
tear
imagine
apart
that's what it's
Spectre.
gonna be.
But at the same time, it's like without you know half the people that are in this fucking thing already. You've already seen their faces, so like it doesn't matter. They let Blofeld get arrested, and M's like, "What's up, fucker?" And he's like, "Oh shit." And they watch Bond walk off into the distance, hand in hand with Madeline. You're like, "Oh, that was a cool ending to this." Nope. Back at Q Branch, Q watches the elevator descend one more time, and out walks Bond. And he's like, "Oh, I thought you'd gone." And he goes, "I have. There's just one more thing I need." And then Bond fires up the fully refurbished again, would have taken 2-3 years probably for experts to do this, like people who really know how to refinish and bring up the speed an Aston Martin.
Do you think they put all the gadgets back in?
I think I guarantee he did. He's like, you can't stop me. You think you don't want those gadgets, and you're gonna want those gadgets. Yeah. So I'm gonna put that thing in there. Because what if you realize this woman that you're with
Nick.
is 19 years old and has no real good view on anything, and you're like, I'm so tired of this. I just want her to leave.
So happy you went that way with the joke.
Just ejects her the fuck out of there. Who's next? Anyway, he fires it up, and Madeline gets in the passenger seat, and then again for the second time in the last 3 seconds, they drive off into the distance as the Bond theme roars. And then the end. Thank God.
Thank God. And that's it. James Bond's retired. He has love. Cool. Let's do some haiku.
7 syllables in the middle. You need 5. So last. Not poetic.
Did I nail it or not?
Haikus don't need to rhyme.
Haiku
in review.
Just hit it a little early, Nick.
I can't, man. Just fucking go.
Oh man, you gotta love it. Let's see. Engine 25 writes into patreon.com/kindafunnygames, or kind of funny, just like you can, to leave your review in haiku form, saying fucking Christoph Waltz, man can deliver a line. Too bad the movie sucks. Josh, she says the film's boring. The franchise died with Skyfall. Damn's lame song sucks balls. Grayling T says James Bond, Kool-Aid Man. Sam loves crash planes into barns. M stands for moron. And then Mason Hall says, pulling my hair out, this movie's ridiculous. Cast deserved better. For real, though, I love the idea of pulling all the disparate threads together from previous films, as I always thought they should build Quantum as an arm of Spectre, but this film earns none of it, wastes all the potential of its premise as well as the phenomenal power of its cast, and lets the ending fall flat. Sorry for the long response. There you go. And then Monty Joe says, yo, Spectre, really? No Batista bomb even? Don't waste Dave like that. Which I totally agree with. That's it. Those are our haikus. Let's do a little ragu.
Give it to me.
Hold on.
Give it to me. Ragu. I tried to nail it. I don't know if I got the timer right on that one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys. I'm your host, Nick Scarpino, alongside Andy Cortez, Kevin Coelho, and Tim Blue Eyes Money Man Gettys.
That's me.
So far, let me get the list out because I actually don't remember where we ranked everyone.
Ooh, it just sort of occurred to me that I never made a ranking for this movie.
Oh no.
The file?
Oh shit. I think I threw out the.
We don't need it.
I threw out the ranking. I'm just gonna do this from the top of the fucking dome right now, ladies and gentlemen. Number one is Thiago Silva from Skyfall. Then I believe we put Le Chiffre there from Casino Royale. Then Dominic Green from Quantum of Solace. Where do we want to rank Blofeld? Ernst Stavro.
Bottom of
Blofeld.
the barrel, guys. He is just
it breaks my heart, but I gotta. You gotta give him points because it is Christoph Waltz.
No, you don't though. Here's the thing. He did a bad job making the character good. You know, like enjoyable.
He didn't have anything to work with. He didn't have,
and that's fine. But I guarantee you, Meryl Streep would have killed it. You know what I mean?
I put him
fucking killed it.
I put him over Homeboy. I put him at number 3. I put him.
Who's number 4 right now?
Number 4 is no one. We're trying to rank them.
Number 3.
The last spot is Dominic Green from Quantum of Solace.
I don't even remember that guy.
Fuck, man. Yeah, no, this is better than that.
He takes an axe to the foot. I'll agree with Andy.
I go with this.
That guy.
Oh, he took an axe to the foot. Oh, I'm getting. Disgusting, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that guy, even like his like role in the organization made more sense than like. Oh,
he did.
So
but
you're mostly doing this for revenge? All right. I don't believe it.
I would rank him at number 3. I would say Blofeld's number 3 for me. What do you guys think?
I agree.
I put him at number 3.
There we are. Ladies and gentlemen, the new ranking and final list until No Time to Die comes out. We'll see who the bad guy is in that, which I think is Rami Malek. Yeah. The final list is Thiago Silva, number 1, Le Chiffre, number 2, Blofeld at number 3, and then rounding out the top 4 is Dominic Green from Quantum of Solace. And we're done.
There you go. Now it's time to rank the James Bond movies. Where do we put this one? Because currently the rankings are number 1, Skyfall, number 2, Casino Royale, number 3, Quantum of Solace.
I rank this dead last, in my opinion, for just being boring. I think there's a lot.
Quantum was way more boring than this. Like I feel like this was at least it stands alone as a movie where things happen. Quantum, nothing happens.
I feel like Quantum at least had some action scenes that I enjoyed, and this one, it's like the train one was the most memorable, and that wasn't great.
The Quantum at least also
the beginning of Quantum was really dope.
Yeah,
and and at least it was short.
I think the only thing redeeming about this movie for me is the Batista fight scene. I think again there are some story threads that are interesting, but this movie is just not executed well at all. It totally wastes Christoph Waltz as a villain, as an actor. I put this dead last only because I liked what Quantum did, even though I still don't think it's a super good movie. I do think it had some cool. It was tying everything together from Casino Royale, and I enjoyed that aspect a lot more. But I just wish these movies were more like Skyfall.
Yeah, I see that. To me, the reason why Quantum gets a little bit of a nudge is because Quantum, again, it was about unraveling this secret organization. And Bond, M has the good line where she's like, when someone says we've got people everywhere, you expect it to be hyperbole. You don't expect it to be in a goddamn room. We saw that sort of like covert Illuminati group, and they were a lot more cool and subdued than this group. This whole movie's so on the nose. They got a giant boardroom table. Everyone's there in this weird, like, eyes wide shut style meeting. The bad guys literally bathed in shadows. I'm like, that doesn't feel like a contemporary Bond movie. That feels like we're stepping back into like the early 90s with Bond. And it's just, again, if Spectre had just been Spectre, and we'd never seen Quantum, we hadn't heard of Quantum, that might have been cooler. It could have been a better reveal. But we've already seen him take apart an organization like that, and now we're just doing it again.
It's really weird because watching these week to week, I've enjoyed every single one of them more than I did the first time. But now that all four are done, like looking back on it, I feel like I like all of them less.
I like Skyfall a lot more than I thought I was going to like it the second time. And I think that, I gave that movie a really raw deal originally, but to me, I still think it is a fun movie to go back and rewatch. I think Casino Royale was a fun movie to go back and rewatch, and I think Quantum had a lot of good things to it. This was the only one it took me a while to get through because it's just such a rehashing of everything and just so unimaginative, where it could have actually been like, let's call a spade here. Like the Mission Impossible, the plot lines are very, very cheesy and thin and rehashed anyway, but it's what they do with the action sequences and how the characters interact that's super fun, and you just don't get any of that in this. You get a weird scene where Q orders him a fucking energy smoothie, and you're like, oh, what is happening with this?
M missing here was really, really big for me.
Yeah, there's no.
She wasn't like, there was a scene with her where she was still giving orders. It just.
Yeah, but he means the dynamic.
No, I understand.
I mean, yeah.
No, and I get that, but I'm saying like I kind of just feel like this movie, like these movies feel so like all of them lost and confused on what they're trying to be and what they're trying to get to, and it's just like I wish that someone had put this all together with a little bit more vision and planning.
It sucks because I really do think that it makes all of them worse. Like even like this movie, I think I look at Skyfall in a lesser light because I feel like none of them stand alone as just good movies by themselves because they're all built on, well, this only is happening because we had the build up from the other movies and stuff. And it's just like, just looking at these four, it's like there is no cohesion. Like we finally have a team, and it's like, is No Time to Die going to be the first time we actually see it all gel? I don't believe it.
I think that Quantum, although I don't think it's a very good movie. There was really not a whole lot in Quantum that made me roll my eyes and kind of go, "Ugh, are you kidding me?" And this movie, I caught myself doing that several times, whether it was writing or just a decision the directing, forced actors in. I don't know. I just thought a lot of it was like, oh God.
Really? I guess my thing is I choose this over Quantum just because even though I don't think it's that good, at least it commits to it's James Bond, and we're going to hear the music a lot. We're going to have him do things when music cues hit, and he's going to have the gadgets. He's going to use them. And it's like it's way tropier than I feel like any of the four we've had so far in terms of the James Bond tropes. And so it's like, at least they did that. So for that, I'm like, all right, cool. I'll give it a 6. Whereas Quantum, I'm just like, this is just a bad action movie. All it was trying to do was be an action movie, and it failed at that.
But that's because the way they built up Daniel Craig's character is that he was supposed to be a lot more serious and grounded. So when you put those gadgets in, it just seems fucking weird and out of place. And that's like, to me, why, you have an ejector seat in this movie. It just feels campy and it feels old and outdated, and it's unfortunate because we were supposed to be trying to move beyond that and try to bring Bond into a new era, similar to how like you go back and watch the original Mission Impossibles, even the first one, you're like, this is weird. Then they finally hit a stride, and I think to Kevin's earlier point, it's because Tom Cruise had so much power and influence over that series that he was able to bring in the writers and directors that he wanted and bring back the cast that he wanted and have it feel like it was building on itself. And that's what they need to do here. And I'll be very interested to see what they do with No Time to Die, because I honestly think they're just going to it's going to be a rehash of what we've seen from Spectre. The only thing that gives me hope is it is the guy that directed season 1 of True Detective, which is a show that is like no other show I've ever seen in my life.
So let's vote. Who thinks that this movie here, Spectre, is better than Quantum of Solace? Raise your hand. I'm the only one that raised.
Oh, sorry. I misunderstood.
What did Barrett think?
Hold on. I got Barrett's shit somewhere. Give me 1 sec.
Mm-hmm.
A seconduno.
Yeah, I just can't help but want to rewatch Mission Impossible after all these.
Yeah. Absolutely,
and I totally agree with Nick where it is equally as cheesy in a lot of parts. Like Mission Impossible is totally cheesy.
It's funner,
but it's so much more fun. Yeah.
But that works in that because it is kind of campy and larger than life, Yeah.
Barrett's thoughts on this are: this movie's weird and all over the place, but I kind of liked it. I talked shit about the team aspect they tried to sell us at the end of Skyfall, but I really enjoyed seeing the team back again. This had a lot of fun action and plot that was super close to being my favorite, but was held back by a lot of storytelling choices that felt more convenient than earned for the sake of some reveals. Like revealing that Waltz was Blofeld and in control of all the previous villains was cool in theory, but really weird in execution, especially with the dumb-looking scar we get near the end of the movie. A lot of it felt like Bond fan service, which was cool sometimes, but stumbled most of the time. Also, how and why do people in this Bond universe fall in love so quickly? Like he hung out with Swan for a couple of days and they fall in love. I don't know. I wasn't sold. Again, a lot of weird stuff in this movie, but I was along for the ride. If the ranking is where I think it is, I'd put this above Quantum, below Casino. So same place I would. I'm pretty in line with what Barrett said there. So me and Barrett raise our hand. So the new rankings of the Bond cinematic universe are: number 1, Skyfall; number 2, Casino Royale; number 3, Quantum of Solace; number 4, Spectre. We will return in November for No Time to Die. Hopefully, we'll see. But until then, actually, wait. Before that, the next in reviews, the official announcement's happening right now, motherfuckers.
Whoa!
Next week, we're going to start doing 2 reviews a week, starting with Back to the Future and Transformers.
Oh shit! All right.
So fucking hold on to your butts, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned to Twitter for more details on exactly what days it's going to be, but it's probably going to be either Monday and Thursdays or Tuesdays and Fridays, depending on Greg Miller's schedule. So we're going to have to figure some shit out. But until then, get hyped. You can watch Transformers 1 and Back to the Future 1 to prepare for next week. And until then,
Bon voyage.